Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are the West.
One last chance for the Rangers in Baltimore. Cole Hamels puts his scoreless inning streak on the line before Texas flies the coop from Birdland. This is Rangers baseball presented by AT&T as we come to you live from Orioles Park at Camden Yards, downtown Baltimore, right on the Inner Harbor. Another warm but pretty night here in Baltimore. The final of this four-game series. Both teams coming in with identical 45 and 49 records. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nikowski. Great to be with you tonight in hopes of a Rangers win. We came into this thing thinking that the Orioles starting pitching was scuffling just enough that this offense would really get fired up. That's not been the case. This Orioles pitching perhaps really is better than what we thought.
Well, they certainly have showed it so far in this series, and Rangers hitters will tell you they're a little disappointed that they have not broken through yet when you look at this starting rotation. And go back to Chris Tillman, who had the opener, did a really nice job in his 6 innings of work. Dylan Bundy, the same thing, and then it was Kevin Gausman last night. So big surprise, especially when you look at what they had done their last 3 games, each of them coming into the series. So they'll have another shot tonight against Wade Miley, and hopefully they'll get it turned around.
All right, so yeah, Wade Miley on the side of the Baltimore Orioles. Cole Hamels for the Rangers, and he's riding a pretty nice little streak right now.
He's done a really nice job ever since he came off the disabled list, but especially in his last 3. And you talked about riding a nice streak. It has been now 21 straight innings in which Cole Hamels has not allowed a run, and he has looked really, really sharp. And I'd say what sticks out to me maybe more than anything is the fact that the strikeouts are starting to pick up. The rate was a little bit low to start the season. During this streak right now and over his last 3 starts, 17 strikeouts to just 2 walks. So that has been really good for Cole Hamels out of late. 1 home run in there as well. He has just been locked in and throwing the baseball very well.
Okay, well, one of the keys to this thing, of course, for the Rangers is going to be the offense getting going. Now, the guy at the heart of everything for this team, of course, is Adrian Beltre. We don't need an excuse with Adrian. That smile itself is a spotlight, but he's going to be in it with John Radigan when we come back. Beltre closing in on 3,000 hits. AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Welcome back to Baltimore, birthplace of Babe Ruth, and all over Baltimore today we heard the same two words, Texas hot. That isn't a reflection of the way the Rangers have been playing, obviously. It's a reflection of the weather here. It has been Texas hot here. Adrian Beltre, as Dave mentioned, going to break on a quest for 3,000 hits, although he says, you know what, until I get to single digits, I'm not really thinking about that. Meantime, on our Shiner Light Blonde Spotlight, we shine the light on Adrian's plea to keep the band together. As you consider the next 14 games, including tonight's, you see they're all against teams ahead of the Rangers in the wild card. And Adrian, please, he says, let's keep this together. He says, this is the time of year we normally choose. Are we a buyer or a seller? Our play is not helping right now, but I would like our team to start winning so we can convince everyone, especially our general manager, that we are a buyer. It will be difficult against teams like this. Adrian says he has related that to John Daniels, although not recently. And of course, actions speak louder than words. So getting the victory tonight would be a nice step in the right direction, guys.
Yeah, well, I think your point a very good one. Actions do speak louder than words, and so he knows that. This team knows that, and they hope to get it going tonight in this final game in Baltimore and avoid the 4-game sweep. Let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. Delano DeShields back in there today, leading it off against the left-hander, starting in left field. And look at the job that he has done as a leadoff hitter this year at a .352 on base. Robinson Chirinos doing the catching today, bats ninth. That puts Lucroy as the DH.
And they'll be going up against Wade Miley, the left-hander for the Baltimore Orioles. We'll take a look at the pitch arsenal here. Lots of fastballs, 60% of the time you will see a fastball from Wade Miley. Then it's the slider, the changeup, and the curveball. And you think about those secondary offerings. The slider, probably the best of the group. A .231 batting average against. That is the lowest of any pitch in the Wade Miley arsenal.
All right, so he is set to go. And Delano DeShields steps in. Good to see Delano back in there. .283 average. And you see good numbers against Smiley. He drops a beautiful bunt first base side. Barehand play by Smiley. And he gets it there. Pardon me, Miley, just in time. Perhaps he's smiling now as he gets to Shields for the first out of the game.
Well, one of the guys is smiling, and it's certainly not Delano DeShields, because right off the bat, this looked like a very good bunt. He goes to the right side because left-handers have a tendency to fall off to the third base side of that pitching rubber, and so it's a little bit harder for them to get the bunts that are on the first base side. He made a very, very nice play.
All right, so Miley avoids a little bit of a trouble, I guess, there in that first bat. I always love that leadoff bunt. Great way to catch somebody sleeping. Even if it is a play-by-play guy. Chu takes ball one. And Miley comes right back after him, but low. Chu drops to the second spot in the order with DeShields leading off. On base percentage at .359 for Chu.
Those three pitches, none of them really close for Wade Miley, and he's been very good against left-handers this year. He's dominated. He's done a nice job. We'll see Cole Hamels tonight. He has also done that. So we got two left-handed starters that really have beat up left-handed hitters this season.
Just all over the place there against Chu, so walks him on 4 pitches.
Let's take a look at the Orioles defense behind Wade Miley tonight. Mancini, Jones, and Joey Rickard in the outfield. And this is pretty much what we have seen most of this series. Machado, Tejada, Scope, Davis in the infield. Wellington, Castillo now catching 3 of the 4 games here against the Texas Rangers. He'll be behind the plate with Wade Miley.
Chu on up front of Elvis Andrus now. And Elvis takes strike 1 from Miley. Miley 4 wins, 8 losses, and a .540 earned run average. And another in this line of Orioles pitchers whose numbers don't stand out as real good. Chu running, the pitch in the dirt, the throw goes to center. Chu will hop up and head to third on the throwing error. So a stolen base is 9th of the year, but then the E2 puts him just 90 feet away.
This throw from Wellington Castillo was not even close. And he's actually done a very nice job of throwing out base stealers. He's done that at a 42% rate this year, but look how far up the line this throw was. You know, if it was on the money, it looked like Chu probably would have been out, but it was not even close. Chu will go down to third just like that. The Rangers have a runner in scoring position.
The count, no balls and 2 strikes on Andrews. Infield in, and so is the pitch. 1-2 the count. So not messing around. They want to try and cut down Chu should he try to score on a ground ball on the infield. Outfield plays Elvis straight away, maybe slightly deep and left. This one popped up first base side. Rickard toward the line, and he'll make the catch. Chu won't challenge his arm in this spot, and they're 2 away. Well, that one not hit deep enough, and it's going to be up to Adrian Beltre now. Adrian, you see at the bottom of your screen, 17 hits away from 3,000. Not yet counting them himself. But I appreciated his commentary yesterday. He was somewhat candid about the fact that he's aware of it. I mean, it's hard to keep it a secret. Some guys, boy, they'll pretend like, oh, no idea. People keep asking me, you say 3,000 then? Oh, interesting. Well, no, he knows. But he said he can't really allow himself to think of it yet. He says, you know, 17's not that close. I think it's single digits. He said, then it'll be interesting. 2-0 the count.
And that's the smart way to look at it. I mean, you think about how far away he actually is, and even if he was red hot, how many games it would take him to get there. And based on the quotes that we had heard and the big picture things that Adrian Beltre was more concerned about with his team right now and winning ball games and trying to convince John Daniels that this is the right kind of roster and the right team to try to add to and maybe make that run at the wild card. Makes perfect sense that he's not thinking about the individual goals right now.
Well, ahead here, 3-0. Miley walked Chu on 4 pitches. And Beltre swinging 3-0, sends it down toward the corner right field, and that one drops in for a base hit. Run scores, Beltre to second, and they got him. They're trying to stretch that single into a double, but Rickard with a good one-hopper. And Beltre is out, but the Rangers get the first run of the game.
The hit counter is brought to you by Jack in the Box. And let's take a look at this hit. And Adrian Beltre thought that it could have been a double as Wade Miley threw that fastball down over the plate on the 3-0 count. And Adrian drove this ball. Now, I think when he first saw it out of the box, wasn't sure whether or not ball was going to stay fair or not, but it certainly did. And maybe that little extra look there might have cost him. But go ahead and credit Joey Rickard for a really nice throw. As you see Chu crossing the plate and giving the Rangers their first run of the game.
So a 1-0 lead for Cole Hamels. As he will go to work in the bottom of the first inning. Adam Jones will lead it off. Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope to follow. First pitch swinging, and he fouls this one back out of play. Strike one. Jones 5 for 12 in this series with a home run. He has scored 6 runs out of that leadoff spot. So he's done a real nice job in this series at the top of their order. In fact, had a leadoff home run yesterday. That was his first of the year. 6th time he's done it in his career. He does have good power. 16 home runs. Hamels winds it up. And he gets that one past Jones. 1-2 the count. Breaking ball, and it's a one-hopper shortstop. Andrews with a high throw, but brought down nicely by Napoli. One away.
The curveball 11. All the secondary offerings have been really, really strong for Cole Hamels. 185 batting average against us. Changeup 100 on the cutter. 227 against his curveball.
Behind Machado here, 3 balls and a strike. Machado's been tough in this series. 5 for 10. 3 walks. And shoots this one out to right field. Chu able to backpedal a couple of steps, and there are 2 away.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by DeMontron RB. DeShields, you talked about him getting the opportunity in left. Gomez and Chu rounding out the outfield. Beltre, Andrews, Odor, and Mike Napoli. And it is indeed Robinson Chirinos behind the plate with Jonathan Lucroy DH. There's Robinson.
Back-to-back games for him. Lucroy in the lineup as the DH today. The ball to Scope is off the plate. Jonathan Scope batting third again tonight. And another guy having a big series. You see the numbers at the bottom of your screen. He's having a great season. And it's 1-1.
And I don't know, I don't read too much into this kind of stuff when you look at Cole Hamels with Robinson Chirinos as opposed to Cole Hamels with Jonathan Lucroy. 2.53 ERA when he's thrown to Robinson. You see him right there. And obviously very, very good. He's thrown well with Lucroy. 3.35 ERA. So they've both been very good. I doubt that it's one over the other that Cole Hamels prefers. I mean, Cole Hamels is having a really nice season. His game plan is pretty steady. There's a decent difference. They're both very good when you look at the ERAs with each of the catchers here in Texas.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Scope. Well, I mean, you could speak to it as well as anybody, though. There is a difference sometimes pitching to one guy versus another.
Oh yeah, the pitchers will tell you. They probably have their preference. Actually, they won't tell you. They'll have their preference. They'll probably keep it to themselves unless it's something that is really, really important to them. If they really struggle with one of the catchers. Now, it's a unique thing that we have here with the Rangers, where it's not a true backup with Robinson Chirinos. It's a backup catcher who gets a decent amount of playing time. Jonathan Lucroy right there is the starting catcher, and he's been on a pretty good run here as of late as far as the consistency of getting starts. But Robinson Chirinos is in there a lot more than your average backup.
Hamels 2-2. And a hard bouncer shortstop. Andrews with the long throw, and it's in time to complete a 1-2-3 for Cole Hamels. So it's 22 scoreless for the left-hander. For the big story. Now the Dodgers, they've been the big story now for quite some time. How about that? Since June 7th, a 31-4 record. All the peripherals ridiculous. It's the best 35-game stretch in the National League since the New York Giants of 1936. Giants team that won that National League pennant, lost to the Yankees in the World Series that year. Dodgers certainly seem destined not just for the postseason, but maybe a deep run this year.
Well, that'll be their big test. It's been an issue for them. This is a team that's won Division I 4 straight now in the National League West, but they've not seen a World Series yet. They're feeling like maybe this will be the year. They're playing some pretty incredible baseball.
Mike Napoli leading off this second inning for the Rangers. A 1-0 Texas lead. Napoli bats fifth tonight. A 204 average, but 20 home runs. And he takes it low. It's 2-1. Dave Roberts, manager of the Dodgers today, and he's been getting peppered with a lot of questions lately about his team. Was asked basically a comparison to the Golden State Warriors of the NBA, and Dave Roberts, to his credit, said, "Well, probably need to get a championship here first before we can start playing that game." But an awfully good team, and considering how well the Diamondbacks and Rockies have played this year, that they have an 11-game lead over those two.
I didn't think it was that long ago where they were a third-place team, looking up at the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. It didn't take them very long at all to really separate themselves in that division. I'm sure Dave Roberts really disliked that question too.
I bet he did. Napoli asked for time, and plate umpire Trip Gibson grants it. Miley's 2-2. Breaking ball, and that one hit high in the air down the left field line, but it's not going to carry. Mancini tracks it down, one away. The warehouse out in right field beyond Utah Street. And dusk sun reflected nicely. It is a beautiful setting.
I thought the Ark of the Covenant was in there or something. I wasn't
right?
sure what was going on.
Don't look into the light. Oh, here's Odor. Maybe at 215. And he takes a strike. I don't know what it was about that that scene that you're referencing, by the way.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That scared me to death.
Yeah. Probably the face melting.
It was the face melting.
Yeah.
0-2 to Odor.
Some frustration by Ruben Odor. We can see it. Now the first pitch looked like it was a little bit off the plate. That one, Pitch Tracks had a little bit more on the plate, but still 2 pitches for him that were on the corner. He's grinding. These will be tough at bats for him. Wade Miley's got unbelievable numbers against lefties, so you step in knowing it's going to be a battle, and you feel like you've taken a pitch and you'll get that's a ball, and then umpire calls it a strike. Man, come on, like this is going to be hard enough as it is. You can't get the corners too, or even off the plate.
This one lined up the middle. Base hit for Odor. Rangers have a base runner in the second inning. You mentioned it. Lefties were hitting just 193 off Miley this year. So that's a good at bat.
This is a very good at bat. Here's the breaking ball. The first one that he saw that was called a strike. This one caught a little bit more of the plate and a really good approach. And these are the things we're watching now with Ruben Odor. You see that base hit up the middle. A couple of nights ago we had a hard hit to left field. He had the bunt base hit last night, and those are the little things you're looking for to see, could he get going here pretty soon. The power's been there all year, but we know that Rudy likes to see that average come up a little bit. So definitely some good signs in this series.
Got on twice yesterday, twice on Tuesday. Toss over there, and that'll keep Rudy a little closer.
I forgot to ask Jeff Bannister this today, but there was some news that Tony Kelly got activated and Pete Cosmo was designated for assignment. And now, when we had this situation where Lucroy was DHing or Chirinos was DHing and then the other one was catching, Pete Cosmo was always the emergency catcher in those situations. I don't know who it would be now. Drew Robinson?
Well, kind of awkward now, but I guess they wanted me to mention it to you.
Oh, they told you.
Yeah.
Oh, me.
You might need to.
That's a negative.
Put a glove on.
There's no lefty catchers, buddy. There's Kella.
It's been a while. Yeah, Keone activated today and ready to go.
Because they had said in the past that Mike Napoli would not catch pretty much under any circumstance. So people say, well, Mike Napoli, of course. I don't think that would be him. And the reason it comes up is because when you do this, when you put Jonathan Lucroy in as the DH and Robinson Chirinos in as your catcher or vice versa, it doesn't matter. If one of those guys were to get hurt, especially behind the plate, you have to decide, do I want to use an emergency catcher or do I want to lose my DH? If something happens, say in the third inning, and you put Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate, well, now your pitchers are going to have to bat every time that DH spot comes up.
Well, the other place that comes up too, of course, is that Cosmo would run out there a lot of times between innings and catch a few of the warm-up pitches. So I don't know who gets that duty now. 1 out. Odor at first. And the 2-1 to Lucroy. Odor's running and a bouncer at third base. Machado will have just the one play. He gets Lucroy. But Odor now out there at second base.
Well, the Rangers are going to take on these Orioles again. That'll be on Saturday, July 29th. And the first 15,000 fans will get a Ruben Odor high five bobblehead courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. This will be the second in a series of 2 high-fiving bobbleheads. Tickets are available at TexasRangers.com.
Odor having a few words with Jonathan Scope out there at second base. Nobody really near the back, so he's able to take a pretty decent lead if he wants it. Gomez watches strike one from Miley. Well, just underway tonight. Rangers got a run in the first. Beltre RBI single to right field. Cole Hamels was perfect in the bottom of the first inning. And as we mentioned in the open tonight, Cole Hamels working with a 22 consecutive scoreless inning streak. That was pretty relaxed.
Always does.
One. And the check swing. No, he went around. And Sonia at first base. Says it's 1-2. Well, Miley, we talked about how tough he's been on lefties. How about that? Odor running. Will return on the foul ball.
We talk about this a lot. It's very difficult, not difficult, but it's easy for left-handers to kind of get in some bad habits. They have to look a little bit further to see those runners at second base. And again, maybe with 2 strikes, that Wade Miley a little bit more locked in on the hitter than the runner, and so Odor saw an opportunity to swipe third.
This one off the end of the bat, first base. Nice play by Davis to grab it and dive back to the bag and put out Gomez. So he took everything he had to get to the ball and everything to get back to the base.
Well, this is a great play by Chris Davis, not only saving a base hit, but saving a run as well, and gets back just in time to the bag.
And now he'll face the heart of the order in this second. Trumbo, Davis, and Trey Mancini for Baltimore. 1-0 our score tonight. Great to have you along with us again this evening. Final game out here in Baltimore. Last in a long 4-game series. They're rare. Orioles have won the first 3. Hamill's got a strike into Trumbo. Comes right back after him. And it's 1-1. Our Kubota power stats tonight. Hamill's last 3 starts.
He's been great. He has been great getting deep in games. You see the strikeout rate coming up near 7. He's been 5 over the course of his career. The ERA sparkling. He's just been throwing the ball extremely well. Good command of the zone. The changeup for me has looked really good. Just across the board, that is the best version of Cole Hamels that we have seen over these last 3 starts.
Hamels, this his 10th start of the year. This is high. It's 3-1. And that's been part of the story this season for the Rangers. So much talk lately about how this team is finally, for the most part, at full strength. You have Hamels, Tyson Ross, both in the rotation at the same time. With you, Darvish. And then, of course, you've got Adrian Beltre back. He missed the first 51 games of the year. 3-1 pitch. And this one lifted high in the air to center field. But Gomez is there. So 1 away. That's 4 in a row retired by Cole Hamels to start tonight. Hamels was on the disabled list from April 30th to June 25th with that right oblique strain. Remember, he was warming up for that start at Houston. This was May 2nd. And in the middle of those warm-ups, realized he had tweaked something and then missed nearly 2 months. So as a result, it was not the same stack of numbers that you would expect this time of year for him, a guy who has been so durable in his career.
That streak comes to an end now where he has gone better than 30 or more starts, going all the way back to 2008. We've done that every single year, 193 innings or more in each of those seasons as well. All of them 200 plus, except for that 1 year where he threw the 193. So that streak will end for him, but you see what a winner he has been going back to August 1st, 2015, of course. Now here with the Rangers. We've had a couple relievers there too at the top.
Comebacks. And he will bounce pass it to Napoli. Wow. that worked out.
Well, if you're going to give him a hop, you want to make sure you give him the long hop and not the short one. And not exactly sure what happened there. I think Cole Hamels probably started to throw that baseball and then realized that Mike Napoli needed a little bit more time to get over there because he was playing deep in the hole. And you see it's kind of a quick reaction. He started to throw, and I think he tried to slow his arm down because Knapp had not gotten there yet. Let's see. And you could smile and laugh about it because it was caught and the out was recorded. Good job all the way around.
So 2 away for Trey Mancini. Up and in.
I was watching Trey Mancini take batting practice. He's keeping an eye on his mechanics. He's got a little bit of a leg kick, and kind of as he lifts that leg up, you see him actually going toward first base a little. You see that? It comes up and then kind of goes away. So the assumption would be against a guy like him is that you'd be able to pound him in, right? Is that momentum is kind of closing himself off somewhat, but it's worked for him. He's done a nice job of hitting for power. See Cole Hamels trying to go in here.
This one popped up right side of the infield. Odor drifting out. And that's another 1-2-3 inning for Cole Hamels. 6 up, 6 down for the big left-hander. Break brought to you by T-Mobile. Dustin Pedroia. You see the 9-game hitting streak. Boy, he has had a month of July for the Red Sox. I think, what did you say, 23 RBIs this month?
23 RBIs already this month to go along with his 28 hits, which are both the most in Major League Baseball.
Cubs haven't lost since the All-Star break, and they're scoring runs like crazy. And the Indians sub 500 at home. The only division leader right now playing below 500 baseball at home, 21-24. As we go to the 3rd inning tonight, 1-0 Rangers. Robinson Chirinos, 9th in the batting order, leading things off here in the third. Thought about a bunt, perhaps. Takes a strike, 1-1.
And based on what you see, take a look at the defense there. That is probably a push bunt. You don't want to give Manny Machado an opportunity to run in and make that play. But again, I talked about how lefties will have a tendency to fall off to that third base side. If you can get that ball past Wade Miley, Robinson Chirinos can walk to first base. Look what Chris Davis is. That ball gets past Miley. There is nobody that can get that ball.
Davis didn't make much of an adjustment after seeing that indication either. 2-1. Now they count to Chirinos. Robinson had an RBI single last night. That was in the 9th inning. Rangers managed to scratch out an extra run at the end of the game. In fact, 3 hits in that 9th inning. We said at the time, hey, maybe that would be a little momentum coming into tonight.
Now the other thing real quick, going back to the bunt attempt, is that Miley doesn't fall off very far. His momentum would be going that way as a lefty, but he's not one of those guys. And we've seen a lot of guys that will fall off the mound pretty dramatically. He is not that kind of guy, but you do kind of bank on at least the momentum of him landing on that right foot. You'd be able to get that bunt past him.
This ball hit hard over third and into left field. So that's a base hit for Chirinos. And he will dig for second and get there easily. A double in this third inning. That's number 4 this year for Chirinos. Well, Rangers, they've had base runners in every inning so far.
Well, this is much better than a bunt. You see the grip there, 4-seam fastball. Robinson Chirinos, the ball was in. It is where they wanted it, but he showed some quick hands, pulled those in, squared it up. A nice leadoff double here in the third inning.
So Chirinos out there at second, and now Delano DeShields. He tried to bunt earlier, drops this one right in front of the mound. The throw goes to third, and they get Chirinos. So a 1-5 put out at third base, and that one backfires on the Rangers.
And Wade Miley did a good job of getting off the mound here and making a decision in which he did not hesitate at all. That's part of this. If you're going to try to be aggressive and get the lead runner, you cannot hesitate. You see the breaking ball, and the ball came back to him, the bunt right back to the middle. As you see Manny Machado getting back there in plenty of time, but there was zero hesitation on the part of Wade Miley, and that's how it has to be if you're going to try to get that lead runner.
So DeShields will get some immediate attention over at first. 19 stolen bases this year.
Now the goal there for Delano was to try to get that bunt to go toward third base and draw Manny Machado in. As a straight sacrifice, if Machado fields it, Robinson is cruising into third base pretty easily.
Pickoff over to first. DeShields running to second. The throw got him at second base. It goes as a caught stealing. 1-3-6.
Delano trying to get a read here on Wade Miley, and he decided he was going to go first move as soon as that leg came up. And a lot of base runners will try to do this against lefties, and a lot of times they're fast enough to still be able to beat this. Delano certainly has that kind of speed, but good execution by Miley and Chris Davis to get that ball down to second base quickly.
Oh boy, a leadoff double, and then just like that, 2 outs on the bases, and the count of 1-0 to Shin-Soo Choo. Choo walked on 4 pitches in the first inning, sees 2 balls to start this at bat. Haven't seen a strike yet. Miley doesn't appear real comfortable throwing strikes to Choo. Runs that one in. It's 3-0. Choo never one to mind. He'll take the free passes when they give them to him, and they do again. He has seen 8 pitches, all 8 have missed. So the Rangers have a base runner with 2 outs now, and we take a Chevy game break and send it back to Dana Larson.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Dana. 1-0 here. Rangers leading. And Elvis 0 for 1. 2 over at first base. Takes strike 1. Andrus has been in a little bit of a slide lately. The average has dipped for him. Shoots this one up in the stands. Down.
He has 2 hits in his last 28 at bats, and the thing that I noticed earlier too with Delino is that during those 28 at bats, there are 28 plate appearances as well. No walks for him, just 1 so far this month. Now he has been hugely important to this offense the entire year. Just had a really nice first half and even leading, into July. So listen, you can't ask a guy and expect a guy who's going to do it all the time every day. And so slumps are going to come, and Elvis trying to work out of one right now.
It's been the crazy thing though, right, with this team is as he has fallen on hard times here for the last, I don't know, week and change. It just happens to have coincided with the rest of the team all struggling. They have all kind of had a tough time after the All-Star break. The count now goes to 2-2. You mentioned there have been times this year where he has kind of carried things himself. There have been times when guys like Joey Gallo have gotten hot, or Napoli. Napoli, to be fair, has swung it pretty well since the All-Star break. Another foul ball lashed right there in front of the Orioles dugout.
See Wayne Kirby, the first base coach for the Baltimore Orioles, giving Elvis Andrus a long stare, just in jest. Saying, hey man, field's over there. Hit on the field.
Two and a swing and a miss. First strikeout tonight for Wade Miley. Rangers have an adventurous third. They lead 1-0.
One to nothing, and there it is, Utah Street here at Camden Yards. That big number 5, of course, belonging to Brooks Robinson. Let's take a look at Cole Hamels and scoreless inning streaks over the course of his career. This is updated now for tonight. He is just 2 innings away from tying a career high, which he set back in 2010. Of course, he now has tied his 3rd best streak. You see that there in 2012. So it's been a good run here for Cole Hamels, and certainly would be nice to see him set a new personal best here tonight.
Starts off the 3rd inning with a strike to Wellington Castillo. Castillo, Tejada, Joey Rickard in the 3rd. That's one off The thumbs fouled back out of play.
Castillo's got better nicknames in the game. We haven't brought it up yet. Wellington Castillo makes perfect sense that his nickname would be Beef. It's a good nickname.
His name's always made me hungry, I'll say that. Hits this ball hard out to left field. Long run for it. And DeShields into a dive, can't get it. It's called a fair ball. And Castillo goes for two. The throw gets him. And another out on the bases in this game. What a wild one already. Just in the third. A great recovery by DeShields to pick that up, hustle it back in, and Odor puts a tag on it.
Yeah, he almost made a great play. Goes full extension. The ball ends up hitting his glove, but bounces right back to him, and it is not even close. Does a nice job of making the good throw as well, right? Like Delino thinking, yeah, I could probably get to this ball, and a lot of guys don't pop up necessarily quickly as that after making that dive, but good awareness on his part to get up and make a very accurate throw and eliminate Castillo from the bases.
So a single. The Orioles base runner, very short-lived. Base is empty with one out now for Tejada. Fourth outfield assist for DeShields. Ball, one strike on Tejada. Now, Wellington also, that name, it is not one that you would initially stick into the baseball universe when you hear the name Wellington. I'm thinking of something just a little more British, a little more.
A good chess player.
Right. Two balls and a strike on Tejada. Left up just a tad, but Tejada missed it. Ends up a souvenir. 2-2 the count. Bottom of the third, 1-0 Rangers. Rangers made a couple outs on the bases in the top of the inning. Orioles follow suit, making out immediately in the bottom of the third inning. Another foul ball. Tejada's been an interesting one in this series. Talked quite a bit about the great production they've gotten out of the catcher's position. He's had 4 hits in the series, including a double. Tejada was with the Yankees at spring training. Eventually acquired by the Orioles in early June.
He's done a nice job filling in for J.J. Hardy. I mean, this is an offense that is pretty deep here in Baltimore, and he's really chipped in as of late, especially in July. Some of that playing time started coming in June for him at the end, but also now here in July he's getting comfortable, heating up, getting regular at bats. Of course, Ruben Tejada involved in that slide a few years ago with Chase Utley.
Hey, a souvenir. You take all the way back to Texas, young man. That was awesome. That's a smile. Line drive base hit for Tejada. That will go into the corner. This time he'll race to second, and no threat of an out for Tejada. So a clean double. Orioles have their second base runner of the night.
Well, we just mentioned Ruben Tejada and how well he has been swinging the bat. We saw Cole Hamels go inside earlier. He was trying to go in here. This one caught a little bit more of the plate. I mean, not a ton. It wasn't a terrible pitch, but Tejada was swinging a hot bat, able to get to that one, hit it hard down the left field line. An easy double for him.
So the Orioles now with their first at bat with a runner in scoring position. Joey Rickard, 9th place hitter. Orioles going to keep an eye on Tejada first. Has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. Rickard hasn't had a hit yet in this series. 0 for 3. He has walked and scored a run.
Well, check out Rougned Odor right here, sneaking up behind Brian Gorman and just asking him if he wouldn't mind taking a couple of steps to his right. And of course, is because Rougned Odor is playing there, doesn't want to lose the visual of the straight line that he has to the catcher. Gorman obliges for him. You kind of have a choice there when you ask an umpire. Say, well, do you want me to go left? Do you want me to go right? The other thing is that Rougned Odor is responsible right now for holding Ruben Tejada at second base. And so there is that possibility that he would have to cover the bag if Cole Hamels decides that he wants to turn and throw.
Bouncer to the hole, it's short. Andrews' long throw just in time to get Rickard. Well, he was quick out of the box and down the line, and that was a long toss for Elvis.
This is a nice play because Rickard has got some wheels to him. This guy can run a little bit, and this ball was hit far in the hole, and it was going to take a really strong throw from Elvis Andrus, and that is exactly what he delivered. You see the backhand quick exchange, throw on the money. And it does not appear there will be any replay. That one was very close. Getting back to real quick on Gorman and watching Rougned Odor, the second base umpire, and Ruben Tejada. If Cole Hamels were to spin and throw, there's not a lot of room between the umpire and second base right now.
First pitch swing. Oh, Jones bounces it sharply to shortstop. Boy, Andrews had a busy night over there. A couple of interesting plays. Takes care of Jones, and the inning is done. So the Orioles got a one-out double that couldn't get him home. And we go to the fourth.
Well, Elvis flashing to leather here in the third inning. The short hop, and that was a rocket. Nice play, perfect throw, and a nice end to the third inning.
In 1-0 Rangers. Adrian Beltre leading it off, and you can see just one more hit ties him with the Hall of Famer Sam Rice on the all-time hit list.
Just nobody between him and 3,000 after that. Certainly going to be a nice moment for Adrian Beltre, one that'll be here sooner than later, and then continuing to climbing up the list. I'm curious to see where he finishes when it's all said and done this season.
Little tamper by the mound. That one will be played by Scope. Hits to the first in time. Barely got Beltre. A moment there looked like that one was destined for the outfield, but Scope with good range to his left. One away.
Adrian Beltre has had to run here tonight. We saw him hit that leadoff single and get thrown out trying to stretch it into a double, and this broken bat slow roller just beats him by about a half a step.
So the one gone, it brings up Mike Napoli. He's 0 for 1. A little work on that batter's box. Get a good spot for that back right foot. Said earlier about Napoli that maybe the one guy who since the All-Star break really has swung a decent bat. In fact, on this road trip, a couple of home runs, was 6 for 17 on this road.
2 of those big home runs in Kansas City, had the pinch hit home run and the home run in that series finale to tie that game. They've been important ones as well.
We got to Kansas City and talked a bit about how tough it is to hit home runs at Kauffman Stadium. It's a big ballpark, and it is not a particularly homer-friendly ballpark. But the Rangers did hit a couple of massive home runs, in fact, especially in the first night of that trip. Napoli's pinch hit homer that hit some 444 feet. Beltre had a homer in that game that had way more home runs in that series than they have had in this series at Camden Yards, one of the most homer-friendly ballparks in the game. And in fact, at least from the Rangers' perspective, it has been the friendliest over the last 10 years. 3-2, and that ball hit well out to left, but Mancini looks up, and that one over his head. Off the base of the fence, and Napoli will settle for the one-out single. Hit it too hard to get a double.
That was an absolute rocket off the bat of Mike Napoli. Trey Mancini was chasing this ball thinking he had a chance to catch it, and it ended up hitting the wall. We know Mike Napoli hits the ball high in the air a lot. We talk about the high home runs that he usually hits, and he needed, I don't know, another half a degree of launch angle to get that thing out of there. That was an absolute missile off of Mike Napoli's bat.
So he's on in front of Rougned Odor. Odor singled in the second inning. That's the average now at 217. Rudy, bunt single and a walk yesterday, 2 hits on Tuesday, a single already tonight, so maybe signs that it's fallen back together for him again. He had been on a pretty nice little run up into the All-Star break. It's this ball hard on the ground to Scope at second. He'll go to second base for one. The relay to first not in time. 4-6 put out at second base, and they're 2 away. Well, taking a look at our progressive upcoming schedule after this one, Rangers heading down to Tampa. Weekend series with the Rays, getting tomorrow night in a 6 o'clock Central Time start. Our pregame coverage will begin at 5:30. And then it's back home Monday night for the Marlins and some interleague play. And the Rangers will certainly never turn down interleague play. They are 10-2 against the National League this year. There's one spot that shines particularly bright for this Rangers club this year. It is that. There's only one team with more interleague victories this year, and that's the Boston Red Sox. They have played 1 or 2 additional series, though, than have the Rangers. Now one more series. Miley to Jonathan Lucroy, 2 outs and a man on. Lucroy rolled out in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. Fastball. Evans counted the ball on the strike. Lucroy had the Lone Rangers RBI Monday night here. And has done a pretty good job of cashing in when there are runners out there. So far in the month of July. He has RBIs in 5 of the 10 games in which he's played. Total of 7 RBIs for the month. Shoots this one over to the right side, fouling out a play.
We've seen a couple more strikeouts from Jonathan recently that we're used to seeing from him. He's done a really nice job putting the ball in play, especially against left-handers. Left-handers have had a difficult time striking him out. He does a really nice job using the center and right field areas, and you see the big hole on the right side. And it's a really nice time for a really good opportunity, I should say, for Jonathan Lucroy, because we've seen him go to that right side so much against these left-handers.
Off the plate, 2-2.
By the way, I had to look this up. I was curious. 113 miles an hour for Mike Napoli on that base hit. Hardest base hit he's had all year, or any hit for that one. Home run done. Any ball that's been a hit for him this year. That's the highest, hardest that he has hit. Not the highest, which is a little higher, but the hardest one that he has hit all season.
Up and away, and it's a full count on Lucroy. Yeah, it certainly felt like you were talking about Mancini. You have that split-second reaction, like how you're going to play a ball. And everybody has that internal clock, and his was notably off. And he was like, "Whoa, what?"
I'll catch this. No, actually, I'm going to go run to the wall and go pick it up.
That got over him fast. 3-2, and there's ball 4. So Lucroy takes the walk. Rangers have a couple of base runners in this 4th inning.
It's 3 walks now tonight by Wade Miley to just the 1 strikeout. And the walk rate has been an issue for him. He came in 5.3 walks per 9 innings. That is not a good rate. So maybe not surprising to see him with these walks here early on.
Yeah, he throws a lot of pitches per at bat, a lot of pitches per inning. In fact, he's right among the top 2 or 3 in the league in both of those categories. Big curveball in there for a strike to Gomez. And we were talking earlier about his numbers against left-handed hitters. He's been very tough on lefties. But what the Rangers might be excited about, right-handers hitting .317 off of Miley. And he shoots this one into right field. That's a base hit for Gomez. Odor around third, he'll score. Lucroy to third. They're going to stop him on the double by Gomez. It's 2-0 Rangers.
Well, this is a great at-bat by Carlos Gomez, who, as you mentioned, shoots that ball to right field. We know that he's an aggressive hitter, a lot of pull power, but this is a nice approach against the lefty on a good fastball that was down, and Carlos was thinking right out of the box that this had a chance to be extra bases. No hesitation on his part at all, as he easily coasts into second base, and a smart call there by Tony Beasley, the third base coach with the Rangers. I don't think Jonathan Lucroy had much of a shot at scoring on that ball. It was hit pretty hard. Jonathan, of course, as a catcher, not necessarily one of the faster guys on the team, so smart play with Robinson Chirinos coming up.
So Chirinos with a great opportunity here, second and third, 2 out. A nice swing on Miley last time up. Good ball, and this one fouled back out of play. Yeah, felt like he might have missed an opportunity right there. 0-1 to count on Chirinos.
And that's one of those where hitters thinking, any chance you might want to throw me that again? Because I wouldn't mind a second opportunity. I don't think I'm missing that one twice.
I got a fastball this time, and it's 0-2. Chirinos, in the last 2 games and tonight, might be getting that stroke back again. 5 for 10 with a home run and a double.
Some good news right there. The Rangers with runners in scoring position. Just 1 for 11 in the first 3 games of this series, but already 2 for 5 tonight.
And that note on Chirinos. 3 for 9 with a double and an RBI. But in any case, maybe as he starts to see a few more pitches, live pitches in consecutive nights, Get back in that groove that he was in earlier this year, where he was knocking him out of the park every time he was in the starting lineup.
It was amazing to see, an incredible run that earned him more playing time as well.
2-2 now, the count.
You see it there, 70th pitch coming, not exactly the ratio that you want to see from your starting pitcher. And this is an area where Wade Miley has struggled. Just 58% strikes so far this season. That is well below average. Most major leaguers right around 64%.
He gets that one past Chirinos, his second strikeout of the night. But in the inning, Carlos Gomez with a 2-out double to right adds to the Rangers' lead. It's 2-0.
High-speed replay, and the name of the game is run prevention, and the way that you prevent runs in this game is by playing good defense. And here's Delino de Shields, makes a great attempt at that ball, but comes up throwing, makes a perfect throw. Wellington Castillo nailed that second base, and then Elvis Andrus with the backhand play and the long throw just in time to get Joey Rickard, and then the tough pick, and a very nice one that he made there to finish off the inning. And think about a couple of those balls that were hit back in the fourth. The Orioles probably thinking they should have scored at least a run, but it was the Ranger defense that stepped in, and that's how we got to our AT&T high-speed replay.
And now to the fourth inning, and Cole Hamels continues to move up that list tonight. 24 consecutive scoreless innings.
See the two guys in front of him, both in the National League. Robbie Ray.
Fly ball out into left field. The Shields in a few steps, one away in the fourth.
Alex Wood is having a really, I won't say a nice year, an incredible year.
Yeah, thank you.
For the Dodgers. Nice would be underselling it.
I was waiting for you to settle for nice, and I was going to scold you because really, I mean, oh, look, there's a lot of attention out there that goes the way of Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jansen, but Alex Wood, are you kidding me?
Absolutely crushing it. 11-0 right now with a 1.56 ERA. Now, you mentioned this, you and I talked about it earlier. He's got 86 innings right now. He only had 60 last year. So you wonder a little bit if they're going to try to manage that. They got a really nice lead. I don't know. Try to give him some time off, put him in the bullpen. There's no set formula. It's okay, well, a guy threw 60 means he can throw 100 next, 120. There's no number there. So the Dodgers, I think, they'll take some precautions. They're also going to be keeping their fingers crossed the entire way because he's been such an important part of their rotation this year. 2 home runs allowed for him, 86 innings.
2-0 from Hamels. And this one lifted high in the air to left. The Shields goes back, and he won't have a chance. That one is into the seats. Jonathan Scope's 19th home run, and he makes it a 2-1 game. not a lot of doubt when that left his bag. Well, I hope you had really was maybe that he'd gotten a little bit underneath it. But that one carried well. The first real blemish against Hamels tonight.
Yeah, and that'll do it for the scoreless inning streak, and he has been great over this time. But Jonathan Scope is just having a career year right now, and I say career year, he's still a very young man at 25 years old, but he has just busted out. He had 25 home runs last year, and he is continuing now to add on with his 19th, and it seems like this will be even a better season than a year ago. The 25 home runs, certainly impressive. He had 267. The on base percentage, though, was under 300. It's a much different story for him this year. He's hitting home runs and he's getting on base, and the average is up as well.
This one popped up by Trumbo, but out of play. 0-2 the count. Trumbo, the DH, last year 47 home runs to lead all of Major League Baseball. This year 15 home runs. As we play on July 20th. National Moon Day.
Come on.
Two-straight pitch.
Which kind of moon are we talking about? The one in the sky? All right.
Yeah. Not the moon pie.
That's what I was thinking. Moon pie. Any other options?
Well, no. None.
So how do you celebrate? I mean, it's one thing National Hot Dog Day. You throw down a couple. What do you do to celebrate National Moon Day?
Yeah, we'll be right back after this.
Yeah, never mind.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Trumbo. 48 years ago, landed on the moon, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's how you celebrate. You said National Moon Day. You didn't say National.
No, and it is. It's National Moon.
It's not about, we're not celebrating landing on the moon.
No, it's just celebrating the moon. Because it was there to be landed upon.
Yeah. You feel like the moon appreciates.
Oh, I gotta believe it's a pretty good day for the moon.
Every day's a good day.
2-2. Full count on Trumbo with Chris Davis waiting on deck. Oh, there's the big left-handed slugger. A 1-run game tonight. Bottom of the 4th inning, and Hamels right back to Trumbo, misses outside, and that is the first walk that he has allowed tonight. Our TXU Energy powered player to watch, and Chris Davis, not a shock that he would find himself in that role. 10 home runs out onto Utah Street. That's way out there in right field. Most in Camden Yards history.
And when you do that, of course, you get that nice little emblem that they put out there, and that's pretty cool. And Ken Griffey Jr. has one actually on the warehouse, right?
Warehouse, yeah. It was a racquetball. He hit that.
That's probably a lot of work to get that thing on there, right? Now, can anybody go above the awning? You see right there, that would be the most impressive. That little roof.
You need more than that?
It's always an opportunity to get better, Dave. Never settle for just greatness. Listen, this guy can do it. I don't want to see it tonight or any time that we're here, but I wouldn't mind watching the replay or the highlight. See the season average. I thought this was kind of interesting, right? The average is low. Chris Davis has never been really known as a high average hitter, but he's hitting lefties better than righties this year. That is really surprising. 253 coming into tonight against lefties, 199 against righties. Now, over the course of his career, he's been about 20 points higher against righties, but the last 3 years, he's actually been a little bit better against lefties. I find that very surprising.
Well, it is weird, and it is. It just strikes me that I feel like we've had that conversation a few times this year about guys. Not all hitters either. Swing and a miss by Davis, and he is a strikeout victim for the 2nd out of the inning. But like Martin Perez, he's having that reverse split year for some reason.
Yeah, he's been a little bit more bad luck, in my opinion, as we see Chris Davis chase this breaking ball out of the zone Good execution by Cole Hamels ahead in the count. Knows that Davis is an aggressive hitter, so perfect location. And there's Martin Perez. But you're right. I think Martin has had some bad luck this year with that. We've talked about it and got into it. And you look at, what has happened against lefties. The average is high, but not a lot of slugging. Only one home run, I believe. There's been some bad luck for him. But you do it. You see it. Reverse splits. But for pitchers, it's one thing, especially for a lefty. It's got a changeup, not very good against righties. If he doesn't have the complementary bigger breaking ball, you could see that. But for a hitter like Chris Davis, and again, he doesn't have a great average. He's never been a real huge average guy. But to see him actually be that much higher against lefties this year, 50 points higher, that's pretty surprising.
2 away. Trumbo's at first. Mancini in a hole 0-2. Mancini popped up in the second inning, 0 for 1 tonight. Rangers with a run of the first, a run in the fourth. There are 2 runs on 5 hits so far. Orioles 1 run on 3 hits. The run came on Jonathan Scope's homer a little earlier in the inning. Mancini, and that one got a piece of him.
Tough break there for Cole Hamels as he tried to bury that 0-2 breaking ball. And you see some frustration now on his face because he had Mancini exactly where he wanted him. And even Jeff Bannister wants to kind of maybe take a quick peek at this as you see this ball here come down in the dirt. How did that hit his foot?
Boy, hard to tell on that one. There was earlier his bat in the second inning, there was a ball in the dirt, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how it didn't hit him. This one, I wasn't as convinced.
Take one more look here from the front. See it bounce. I guess that looks like from that angle might have caught it a little bit. I mean, if it did, might have taken off some shoe polish, maybe. Does that count?
Counts. Can't do it, man.
I always would drive me crazy when guys would wear their shirts really loose just for comfort level, and then it would catch the shirt that's hanging 4 inches off their body, and that would count as a hit by pitch. It should have to sting a little bit to count. There should be a pain meter. It's got to be 5 or higher out of 10.
Oh, when you're in the hospital, I have the little faces.
Oh yeah, your kids.
What face are you?
Oh yeah,
that's really grumpy face. Okay. Trumbo at second. Mancini at first, but 2 outs for Wellington Castillo. 2-0. Castillo looked like he was going to have himself a double in the 3rd inning. Shot one down that left field line. DeShields couldn't quite make the catch. Great diving effort. But Timo was even better. Hopped up, recovered, and gunned down Castillo at second. Ended up making a fantastic play out of it. But the count here now 3-0. So after the home run, Hamels walked Trumbo, struck out Davis, hit Mancini, and has gone 3-0 here on Castillo. Any chance Castillo green light here 3-0?
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter. He'll take the walk. So the bases are loaded, and Doug Brocail will go out there to slow things down. You think we're hitting an era now where the rarity is going to be when a guy doesn't have a green light 3-0?
Well, there'll be certain kind of hitters you don't want to give it to. I think in the case of Buck Showalter, looking out at who is in the box. And do I believe that that guy has good pitch selection? Do I believe that he can be trusted? How do you handle those situations? 3-0, you get locked into one spot only in the strike zone, a fastball. And if it's not there, you don't swing. I got to believe that trust level is probably there with Castillo. He's having a pretty nice year. He's shown power, veteran guy, he's been around. I mean, those are all the things I think that go into the decision. And the conversation, it's just happened more and more. So you know what? Yeah, it is probably the best pitch you're going to get to hit in the at-bat, potentially. So if you trust your guy, go ahead and let him at least take a shot at it if he likes it.
Yeah, that's why I think in general we're going to see it more and more often. Well, bases are loaded now for Tejada. And Hamels way out of the zone with ball 1.
But Castillo, over the course of his career, is just 1 for 4 in this situation. So he's only gone hacking 4 times in a 3-0 count.
Tejada had a double his last time up. Rolls this one to the left side of the infield. Beltre will go to first, and the inning is over. Orioles get a run on the home run by Jonathan Scope, but they leave the bases loaded. And we go to the 5th inning tonight in Baltimore. Look down Utah Street. Top of the 5th inning in a 2-1 game. Hey, Rangers taking on the Astros Sunday, August 13th. To the first 10,000 fans to the park. We'll take home a Rangers talking alarm clock, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Brookshire. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. That'll be a fun one. It'll be a big weekend, too. We get ready here in the 5th inning, top of the order against Wade Miley, and a breaking ball to DeShields taken for strike 1. Now Delano 0 for 2. Tried to bunt his way on in the 1st inning. And Miley made a really nice play. Next time tried to bunt a runner over, but really missed his target. And instead, the fielder's choice put him at first, but erased Chirinos, who had previously been in scoring position. 1-1 pitch, and it is outside. But Delano getting a start tonight against the left-hander. His starts have been much harder to come by lately, despite the fact that Delano has done really well when in there. 341 on base average this year, stealing bases like crazy. And the offense simply scores more runs statistically. When he's in the lineup, they score about a run more per game.
It can certainly be a difference maker. We saw a lot of success from him with those bunt base hits and finding different ways to get on base. He thought he just found one there in a walk, but Trip Gibson says no, that is a strike and count now full.
Delano will see one more pitch in this at bat. The payoff on the way, and he swings and misses strike 3. One away here in the 5th inning. Hey, Fox Sports support is proud to team up with Homes for Our Troops, building mortgage-free, specially adapted homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. You can learn more about how Homes for Our Troops is rebuilding lives by visiting foxsportssupports.com. Oh, that's a tough at bat. Frustrating one where Delano thought he had ball four. Instead, now a strikeout victim. And it brings up Chu. Curveball misses. Chu has walked both times. A 4-pitch walk in the first, a 4-pitch walk in the third. It still has not seen a strike tonight.
That's incredible. Wade Miley, we talked about how good he has been against lefties. Chu 232 this year against lefties, slightly better against righties at 255. Whatever the reason, Wade Miley is not interested in throwing him many strikes.
There's the first, 2-1 the count.
There are those splits for Wade Miley. Home run differential there. 14 to righties, just 1 to a lefty.
Miley working in this 5th inning. Thrown a decent number of pitches already tonight. This is his 81st, and he misses again. 3 times tonight, Chu has managed to walk, and it's been pretty easy for him. So a base runner with 1 out, and it brings up Elvis Andrus. Elvis 0 for 2. Chu stole a base earlier tonight, not running this time, and this one rolled up the middle. Scope with a great backhand, and the throw back to second. They get Chu. What a play by Jonathan Scope. There's a shortstop playing second base.
That is incredible range by Jonathan Scope. As you see Elvis Andrus' bat, it's kind of breaking half, but to be able to make that throw, that is an awkward angle, and a nice job by Ruben Tejada. As he picks that ball, always anticipate that the throw will be off, and he does exactly that, and that's why he was ready for that one in the dirt. Man, that is a nice play.
Well, 2 gone. And now it's Andrus who replaces Chu at first base. And Adrian Beltre, 1 for 2, steps in. Miley starts him off with strike 1. Beltre singled in the first inning, drove in a run, and then grounded out in the 4th. To Beltre. Even when Beltre is not necessarily smiling, you see it. It's just kind of lurking. Probably, I guess he's always looking for fun. Yeah, there it is.
Much easier to play this game when you're relaxed, enjoying it. Obviously, Adrian Beltre has been a great player for a long time. That makes it maybe somewhat easier as well to enjoy the game. Think about trying to take some of the pressure off. So many guys, the pressure eats them up. Adrian does a nice job of keeping it light.
This one line to center field, drops in, base hit. 2 men aboard, and that one ties him 31st all time with Sam Rice. 2,985 career hits for Adrian Beltre. The hit counter brought to you by Jack in the Box. He and Sam Rice now side by side. All those guys Hall of Famers on that page, except for Adrian Beltre, who one day will be. So the next guy he catches on the all-time list will put him in some very elite company. Now Napoli fouls off a strike.
And to put that in perspective a little bit, you see that and you say, oh yeah, 30, that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, it is. There have been over 19,000 men that have played this game. 19,000 who have played in the big leagues. Obviously there's pitchers in there as well, but 19,000, and Adrian Beltre will surely be at least in the top 30 all time when it comes to hits, and who knows where he'll end up when it's all said and done.
I need to correct myself there. I didn't notice on the graphic Palmeiro was on that graphic. Not in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. He was one and done too, wasn't he? Did he make it to a second?
That's a good question.
I believe he was. I'll let you know here in a second. I'm almost positive that was the case.
Got to get 25% to. Is it 5%?
5% to stay on.
To stay on the ballot.
Yep.
And then, of course, only 15 years, right?
Now down to 10. You want anything else you want me to correct?
Yeah, what else?
It used to be 15. They changed that rule. It is now 10 years that you can stay on the ballot. But if you don't get 5%, then you are immediately off the ballot. And I take that back. He lasted 4 years. 11% his first year, 13 the next year, and it kept going down after that. In his final year in 2014 was 4.4% for Palmeiro, so he fell off after that. Usually guys go the other direction. He went up from his first year to his second, but then backwards. And of course, you do know the Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown, New York. Are you familiar with where they actually have the building? 25%, you get 60 years.
Breaking ball, and that one lifted out to left field. Heading back to the wall. Gone! 3-run shot for Mike Napoli. Well, he continues to swing that big power bat and add some huge insurance runs for the Rangers in the 5th inning. That's a 21st home run of the year for Napoli, but the 7th in the month of July.
Well, Mike Napoli got a slider here, and there have been a lot of them from Wade Miley tonight. This one was actually out of the zone, but with runners in scoring position and an opportunity to drive in some runs, Napoli doesn't let it go by, and that's a good thing as he hits his ball deep into left field. A no-doubter for Napoli.
That will give a little breathing room now for Cole Hamels, something he hasn't had all night. And Hamels had just worked out of a bases-loaded jam a moment ago. So that is a really big home run by Napoli.
Well, as you think about the Orioles scoring a run in the bottom of the 4th inning, kind of getting back in this thing, making it a 1-run game, they have been really good in this series. Their offense has been putting up a ton of runs, and so a little bit of pressure there on Cole Hamels, and Mike Napoli does a nice job of getting 3 more here for the Rangers and maybe taking some of that pressure off.
So now Odor, bouncer right side. Scope had him played well out on the grass at right. Throws to first just in time and gets Odor. Inning over, but the Rangers add 3 more runs. Mike Napoli flexing his muscles in the 5th. The Rangers with their largest lead of the series.
Welcome you back to Baltimore, where last night Adrian Beltre achieved a significant milestone, and it has nothing to do with his quest for 3,000 hits. Our State Farm winning combination, 1 game and 2 records for Adrian Beltre with his errorless game last night. That makes it 54 straight without an error. That's his longest streak ever, and the longest streak ever by a Rangers third baseman. So 2 records, 1 game, our State Farm winning combination, guys.
How about that? It's the all-round game.
He continues to get it done. It's been so fun to watch Adrian Beltre at this point in his career as he finds himself getting in that conversation with some historic figures and, of course, some personal accolades as he climbs up all these different lists.
When you think great all-time third baseman, right? The average fan hears third base. What's the name that comes up?
Mike Schmidt. Brooks Robinson.
Brooks Robinson.
Yep.
I mean, I think because when you think of the combination of glove, bat, the whole thing, especially the glove, you think of Brooks Robinson. First pitch lined out into left center field. That's a base hit for Rickard. The Orioles have a good start to the 5th inning. I mean, look, how you want to parse who's great and who's greater by what numbers and what element of the game you value most. That's all a personal thing. But I think just generally speaking, when you say, greatest third baseman of all time, Brooks Robinson's name always comes up.
It does.
And just kind of coincidental, I guess. We were in the town where he made his name.
And we just came from Kansas City, George Brett.
George Brett, yeah. I mean, it's funny that that's a name that, to me, doesn't come quite as quickly for enough people.
Could be Wade Boggs. Is that a name for you?
So this is probably a failing of my personality, but because I got to see his career as a live breathing human being, right, then it lacks the mystique a lot of times to me. Right? So he was just a player of my youth.
Really?
And he was a very good one, but because he wasn't a mythical character,
sure, yeah, I get it.
then he was just kind of human to me. And then the guys you get to spend time with, you hold in a different regard as well. This ball well hit out to right field. Chu with the long run, and that one leaves the yard. Adam Jones homered yesterday. It's a 2-run homer tonight. Makes it a 5-3 game.
Talk about consistent players that maybe sometimes get overlooked in the way that you were just kind of talking about Wade Boggs. Adam Jones is one of those guys for me as he gets a changeup and, fastball. Not a terrible one. 92 miles an hour. Just didn't have much run on it. Looked like he might have cut back over the plate a little bit. And we have seen Adam Jones do this the entire series. We talked about it a lot last night. He did a great job of hitting the ball the other way, looking out over the plate against Martin Perez, and that is exactly what he was doing here against Cole Hamels. Smart approach and comes through in a pretty nice spot here for the Orioles.
Now Manny Machado 0 for 2. And he takes ball 1.
I say smart approach. Cole Hamels will throw you in. He'll cut you in. He'll throw the fastball up in him. He's not afraid to bury the breaking ball down and away.
That breaking ball left up and hit high in the air, way out there to left center, but Gomez with some room and puts it away. Up on their feet here at Camden Yards momentarily, but he got under it a little bit. Well, 3rd time through now for Baltimore. Jones with a good swing, Machado with a real good rip right there, and now here's Jonathan Scope. Another guy who can certainly hurt you as he takes a breaking ball for a strike.
And good one there from Cole Hamels as well. But as I was mentioning, he's not a guy that you can just lean out over the plate. There are certain lefties that don't necessarily have the stuff or the confidence or the consistency when they're pitching inside. Cole Hamels is absolutely one of those guys. And so you could see where there'd be times where he'd tie up some of those righties that were trying to cheat and get out over the plate against him. But it's a situation where it's a pretty good fastball. Adam Jones decided he was looking away, and he got a fastball away, and he handled it pretty well.
Ball and 2 strikes on Scope, who homered last inning. A 5-3 ball game. Rangers trying to get out of Baltimore with a win. This one out to center field, but at the end of the bat, Gomez puts it away. 2 out. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Send it back to the studios and Dana Larson. All right, thanks, Dana. 2 out here for Mark Trumbo.
We talked about those Pittsburgh Pirates a little bit in the National League Central in the pregame, and they're saying, well, who do you think will win the division? I still like the Cubs to get it together as they have been as of late, and they're probably division winners for me. And I said, I'm actually thinking the Pirates more than the Brewers, the current first place team right now. I think the Pirates are a team that can make a run potentially. They're playing very well right now as you take a look at the National League Central standings, and I'm sure Milwaukee feels pretty disrespected. They've been in first place for most of the year, and thinking, well, you know, what about us? But just look at rosters, you look at teams, and unless Milwaukee can pull off a big move, they've been rumored to be interested in Sonny Gray, as have the Astros. Without a big move, I'd be worried about them in getting into the postseason.
Trumbo swinging 3-0. Hammers this one to center field. Gomez can't get to it. A solo home run for Mark Trumbo, and it makes it a 1-run game. His 16th of the year.
Now you're just talking about that and saying, well, how do you handle 3-0 counts? And we're seeing the conversation come up a lot more. And how many hitters would you trust to go out there and get aggressive in those spots and go ahead and give them the green light? Well, obviously Mark Trumbo, a veteran with some power, very comfortable in this spot against Cole Hamels, and he gets a fastball that is on the corner at 92, but it was up. For Mark Trumbo, the 4th career home run for him in a 3-0 count. From a 333 career hitter in the times that he's put the ball in play in those counts.
Two homers in the inning, 3 in the last 2 innings for the Orioles, and they have climbed right back in. 5-4 the score. Nice trying pitch to Chris Davis. And they'll shoot this one down the left field line to Shields. Does he have room? No. Everybody's okay down there. A lot of youngsters right nearby, but everybody came through it all right. 0-2 on Chris Davis. A lot of smiles. That was exciting. 0-2. Hamels at 86 pitches. It was weird after that home run in the 4th inning. I mean, he'd been cruising along pretty well at that point. It seemed like he lost a little command in the 4th inning. In this inning, he's just given up some hard contact. He gets Davis to swing through strike 3, though, and that strikeout ends the 5th inning. Orioles, though, pick up 3 runs and make it a one-run game as we head to the 6th. Well, it's time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot tonight, $500 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Johnny Fisher of Dallas, Texas, our contestant. Rangers trying to hit a home run for Johnny. That'll win him $500. If a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, well, that's another $25,000 for Johnny. So good luck. Lucroy will lead it off. Miguel Castro coming out for his 17th appearance, his second in this series.
You see Castro there, 17th game. You mentioned it. Done a nice job. Not a big strikeout guy, surprisingly. We saw him earlier in this series, but it's a good arm. And Castro fastball around 95 miles an hour. You see a slider and a changeup as well for the tall right-hander. It was yesterday. No, we saw him 2 nights ago. He threw 19 pitches.
And he pumps in a strike to Lucroy to start things in the 6th inning.
Done a nice job when he first comes out of the bullpen. That first batter that he's faced, very good, 167 opponent's average. But you see that pitch right there in the corner, 98 miles an hour. You're shocked that he's only striking out 4.6 per night.
Ground ball up the middle. Scope with a good backhand. Back over to first. Retires Lucroy, 1 away.
We had the conversation the other day, and there's certain guys where you see the fastball, you see it pretty well, especially if you're going to go down with it at that velocity. A little bit easier to make some contact. Well, that is nasty at 98 on the corner.
He brings up Carlos Gomez now, 1 for 2. Comebacker. Oh, Castro carries it right over to third, and Machado will recover for him. A 1-5-3 putout.
I mean, really? It was a 90-degree hit right to Manny Machado. Carlos Gomez hits this ball very hard up the middle. Manny Machado did not even have to move. Come on.
Did that hit his glove or his ankle?
I thought it hit his ankle.
Because he seems pretty cool about it. He would think that would hurt, although he's wearing those moon boots.
He's got a lot of coverage on the ankle, if that is indeed where it hit him.
It's a big shoe to calf ratio he's got going. Now Robinson Chirinos. See it again here.
Oh, maybe a little bit of glove and a little bit of.
Yeah, a little bit of glove, maybe a little bit of calf.
Yep.
The back of the calf.
Not easy to hit.
No. That could not have worked out any better for Miguel Castro. The 1-strike pitch. Trying to even it up. Chirinos with a double and a strikeout tonight. We had 2-1. Castro, we were fooled by this the other night when we saw him on Tuesday night trying to guess at his weight because he is such a slender guy, but he's like 6'5". What did we say, 190?
190, yeah. You guessed 110. You were wrong.
It's a 2-1 pitch, and he brings that one back to the outside corner at 98 miles per hour.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, that is not just straight 98. It is, if it's intentionally a two-seamer or just a fastball with really good life. But he's done that a couple of times against righties where he's starting that ball off the plate and it is catching the corner. It's so difficult to hit because you're seeing that ball as a ball for the most part. And he's coming back and catching that out at third. It's pretty filthy.
Well, he strikes out Chirinos for a perfect 6th inning. Well, go to the last of the 6th tonight in a 1-run game. Our 4-game summary tonight as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, a 1-run game, all about the home runs. Orioles with 3 home runs in the last 2 innings. The big home run tonight, though, Napoli with that 3-run shot in the 5th. And so it is a 5-4 Rangers lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Mancini, Castillo, and Tejada do. Good night tonight. 2 for 3. And Hamels out, looking to settle things down a little bit in the 6th inning. Gave up the solo home run in the 4th to Scope. 2-run shot to Jones and a solo blast to Mark Trumbo last inning. Mancini fouls it off his foot. The count on 1-2.
You see Cole Hamels going in, right? We're talking about it over his last at bat, how Trey Mancini lifts that leg up, closes himself off just a little bit. Certainly is something that has worked for him this year. He's done a really nice job. He's 15 home runs, very impressive. Batting average of 307 right now, but Cole Hamels pretty confident that if he gets that ball in there, he'll be able to tie Mancini up. He did a nice job of that in his first at bat back in the 2nd inning. And he does it again there.
Strikeout. Starts the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 away.
And that's it. And there's a hole in a swing getting exposed multiple times. Cole Hamels, as we know, he's been around for a long time. Very smart pitcher, and he goes with the cutter up and in there. So some late movement and gets it by Mancini.
So now Castillo. Curveball. And it is in there for a strike. Dropped it a little lower. The count 0-2.
Change up there as we see Jeremy Jefferson in the bullpen now, getting ready just in case. Cole Hamels ran into a little bit of trouble back in that 5th inning, and so if he were to get in any trouble, Jeff Bannister wanted to make sure he had at least somebody ready.
This time they won it up. This one fouled back. Keeps the count 0-2 on Castillo. 93 pitches so far tonight for Hamels. So getting into that zone where we have typically seen the end of his evening.
That's a good 0-2 pitch. Yeah, very good. Nice job at Robinson Chirinos to try to give Trip Gibson a pretty good look at that pitch. That would probably just miss, but that's a nice 0-2. You talk about shooting corners, especially in and down. That was perfectly located for an 0-2.
This one bounced on the ground, up the middle, and right past Andrews. Went into his side, looked like he was in position to make that play, but just did get past him. You see, not happy at all with the way that one turned out.
Well, this is a fastball down the way. It looked like it might have cut back a little bit as you see it there. And Elvis Andrews, even though it would have been a pretty great play if he had gotten this and made the throw, he expects himself to make it. You certainly can appreciate the effort.
Just a little bit extra on it. They got it over the glove. So Castillo over at first base for Tejada, who's 1 for 2. Give Elvis something to talk about out there at shortstop. It's a big base runner, though. Tejada takes strike 1. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Rangers. They have left 4 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error tonight for Baltimore. They've left 4, including they left the bases loaded in the 4th, and that looked like that might have been a big pivot point in today's game. And a slow roller, that one fouled off of Tejada's foot.
If that didn't hurt so bad, he might have thought about faking it and trying to run down to first base. That is incredible. And it makes sense that the ball hit him based on the way that it spun and the fact that it stayed down and never came up. Tejada in obvious pain right now.
Well, number one, that thing had really weird action down the line. Something was not right. We could tell that, but it was weird because most people did not detect anything. It just looked like a tough break roller. The thing is, it went so far and so hard that you know that deflected off his leg in a very painful way.
Probably had a ton of topspin, I'm going to guess. We'll get a look at it right here. Cole Hamels goes in with the cutter and catches the top of the ankle, and immediately feeling it is Ruben Tejada, even above, more on the lower part of his shin, top of his foot. And yeah, oh, look at that. So that ball actually was in foul territory, came back into fair territory. And Massey, pool shot.
Minnesota fans would be proud of that one.
That's some incredible spin. Listen, you feel bad that Ruben Tejada is struggling right there, with the smart play is to go right back in there again. He doesn't want to foul another ball off his foot, and I love the idea of a cutter in off the plate.
This one on his hands, and he flares it out into right field, a base hit. Castillo stops at second. Tejada manages to fight that one off and get a base hit regardless.
And that is exactly what Cole Hamels tried to do. It was a cutter, and it was in, maybe elevated just enough for Tejada to get at least some of the bat on. I mean, he didn't hit this ball hard at all, and you see the reaction immediately from Cole Hamels to say, man, you got to be kidding me. Thought for sure you would have been a little bit tentative. He was not.
Jeff Bannister out there to have a quick word with Cole. A lot of times you see the manager go out, you assume he's taking the baseball. Not the case here.
Nope, it was a really quick visit. Just wanted to check in really quickly, make sure Cole Hamels was feeling okay. You see the 98 pitches that he has thrown. He threw 99 in his last start against the Kansas City Royals, and we showed it earlier. The season high of 107, that came back on April 21st, so it's been a while. That's the last time that Cole Hamels was above 100 pitches, and assuming he throws more than one more pitch in his game, he'll see triple digits again, but for the first time since late April.
Well, Joey Rickard 1 for 2. Tying run out there at second base in the form of Castillo. Tejada at first. He had the battle in fourth, fifth, and now sixth innings.
He's gotten 10 double plays this year. Joey Rickard will be a tough one to double up. He's got good speed. He's already shown it off here tonight.
On the corner, it's 1-1.
I say that Rickard surprisingly has actually rounded into 5 double plays this year for a guy who doesn't get a ton of playing time. 160 at bats on the year for him. 70 games, obviously, with only 160 at bats. A lot of those are as a defensive replacement.
Did he go around? Yes, he did. And the appeal to Sonia is it's 1-2.
I think this is a pretty good call. It appeared that Joey Rickard had gone around. He did.
The 1-2 pitch. Held off. Hamels with 3 strikeouts so far tonight. This one flared out over second. That's a base hit. 2 charging. They're going to go ahead and wave Castillo. No throw offered, and it's a tie game. That surprises me. Castillo, a catcher running from second base. Off the bat, I thought, well, gear up for a play at the plate.
And I thought there was going to be that opportunity as well, but it didn't happen, and the throw went into second base, and unfortunately now that is going to be it for Cole Hamels.
So some frustration the way this one ends tonight. The 7, 8, and 9 hitters with successive singles tie the game, and Hamels is done. Jimmy Jeffers coming on when we come back. Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now during the Ford Summer Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Well, we continue play here in the 6th inning. Hamels on the bench and cannot be happy about the way things ended tonight. A 5-5 game, but responsible for Tejada at second, Rickard at first. As the lineup turns over for the 4th time, and Jeremy Jeffress comes on from the pen.
Now, we use this phrase all the time when you talk about relievers, and you see the pitch arsenal there from Jeffress. Good fastball, 94 miles an hour, curveball, and the changeup. We always talk about feast or famine. Jeremy Jeffress had not pitched for 8 days coming into this series. He will now appear in 3 of the 4. He pitched last night, just a third of an inning, 3 pitches, registered a strikeout. But it's a long break. 8 days without pitching in the game, and now he will pitch in 3 of the last 4 games. He looked really good last night, too, by the way. He's looked really sharp since that 8-day break.
Now, Jeffress came on last night in that seemingly unending 7th inning, and he struck out Caleb Joseph to end the inning. Here he inherits a couple of base runners, 1 away in the inning. And he gets Jones to hit it on the ground by first. That's a base hit and nobody home out there. Tejada comes in to score. Rickard will be stopped at third base. And Baltimore leads for the first time tonight. It's 6-5. Jones with the double. And the trouble continues.
And Adam Jones continues to hit balls to the right side. And this was a off-speed pitch that was off the plate. Pretty well located and wasn't hit very hard at all. And Mike Napoli was playing off the line. And just because of the positioning of the defenders and how slow the ball was hit, it actually turns into a double for Adam Jones.
Well, the infield is in. Machado at the right side of the plate, 0 for 3. Jeffress comes after him with ball 1. Rickard at third, Jones at second base. 6-5, Baltimore has surged in front. Tampa back to the mound. Jeffress with a great barehand to the throw to first. Wow. Gets Machado and nobody able to advance.
Always a risky play when a pitcher does that. I mean, position players do it sometimes, it happens, but when you see a pitcher do it, you just kind of hold your breath a little bit and hope that they catch it cleanly. Jeremy Jeffress did exactly that. That's a big out in a big spot. You see the good two-seam fastball. Well, look at the barehand play. Turns and fires. Very nice second out here in the 6th.
Now the infield can relax with Scope stepping in. Scope 1 for 3 with a homer. Hamels 5 1/3 tonight. Can't quite close the book on him yet. Remarkable though. He is on the short end of this one so far tonight. No pitch, and there's a swing and a miss. It's not a pitch Scope was going to hit right there. 1-1 the count.
That was a good one from Jeremy Jeffress. Good curveball down. He gets great differential as well. A lot of guys that are hard throwers will come in throwing that slider, but for Jeremy Jeffress, the curveball, so a little bit slower and nice downward action.
Scope fouls it back. 1-2 the count. Well, interesting series so far. Rangers came into this series having won 2 of 3 in Kansas City. Feeling like maybe they were off to a good start of the second half and running into an Orioles team that was swept over the weekend by the Cubs. And frankly, they were a little embarrassed by it. 1-2 pitch. It's off the plate. Looked like a team ripe for the picking, and the Rangers dropped the opener on Monday night. A score of 3-1. Kind of a tough one. Had the lead all the way to the 6th inning. It's a 2-run 7th inning, the difference in the game. Boy, then Tuesday and Wednesday nights were real tough. It's 12-1, 10-2. After having led this one all the way, for the first time tonight, looked up at the Orioles. 2-2 pitch. Hard grounder up the middle. That's a base hit. Rickards in from third. Jones will score as well. Scope with a 2-run single tacks on a couple of huge runs for the Orioles.
See some frustration there from Jeremy Jefferson. It was a good swing by Scope, but this ball actually looked like it went off the end of the bat. It did. It started to slow down, but unfortunately right back up the middle. Nobody was there. It was 4 straight breaking balls from Jeremy Jefferson to Ruben Tejada, and he finally got to the last one. And you're right, Dave. Big hit in a big situation as 2 more runs come across, and 4 in now for the inning.
Well, that closes the book on Cole Hamels as well, and not the line that I was anticipating tonight. 7 runs on 9 hits in 5 1/3 innings. 8th one is charged to Jefferson's line. Trumbo blasted one to straightaway center of the 5th inning. It's 1-1. He's the 8th hitter of the inning. Orioles batted around twice on Tuesday, batted around again yesterday, and that's suddenly looking like a possibility once again here tonight in the 6th. 4 runs across, a man at first base, but 2 out. Swing. Strike 2.
Good fastball from Jeffress, 96 miles an hour. It's good velocity that he has. And Trumbo unable to catch up to it, and so now he's got a decision here. Go back with the fastball up and try to get Trumbo to chase that breaking ball below the zone. Based on some of the swings that we've seen from Trumbo and those things that he was chasing in, the idea of, I think, going back up and in again, pretty good idea.
One in, but a little bit low. And it's 2-2.
Those at bats against, was it? I can't remember who he was hitting against, where he kept swinging the balls over in off the plate. He was really frustrated. He was not picking it up. Had a been Jeffress. Earlier in this series, but saw a couple of bad swings on fastballs in.
I think it was against Bush last night.
That's right.
2-2.
There it is.
Here's the swing and a miss. So a strikeout of Trumbo, and that ends the damage in the 6th inning. A 4-run 6th inning though for Baltimore, and suddenly they lead by 3.
Baltimore and the Orioles have taken an 8-5 lead over the Rangers. And some good news here. Saturday, August 12th, we will honor Hall of Famer Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. Make sure you get to the ballpark early for a special pregame number retirement ceremony. Plus, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Pudge Rodriguez Hall of Fame bobblehead. Under courtesy of Powerade and Walmart. Make sure you get your tickets now at texasrangers.com/Pudge so you can be a witness to history.
Well, new pitcher as we get ready to go in the 7th inning. Darren O'Day making his 35th appearance.
First time we have seen him in this series. See the numbers there for O'Day. Off of what we're usually seeing from him. This is a guy who's been pretty dominant over the course of his career. A low arm angle from Darren O'Day. Fastball, lots of two-seamers, 88 miles an hour, and that slider will be right around 80.
The Shields, a funky 0 for 3, as you can see at the top of our box score. Most of the damage has been done with the heart of the order tonight. Oh, 2 the count.
When he is on, Darren O'Day can be very, very difficult to hit. You see what he's done against the first batter he has faced so far this season. That's a very nice 133 opponent's batting average against, but it has been a little bit of an off year for him. The strikeouts are still there, though, better than right at 11 per 9 coming into tonight.
Sales up there on Delano. 1-2 the count.
He's one of the names that has come up as well, Darren O'Day. And a little bit of a longer track history for him. One of the older relievers, 34 years old. He's still got 2 more years left on his contract after this one. And those years are at $9 million apiece. And so the idea of trading him, part of that would probably be some salary relief for the Orioles. We had 2 huge seasons going back to 2014, 2015, sub-2 ERAs in 68 games in each of those years. The year before that, 68 games with a 2.18. He'd been on a really nice run, really, from 2014 to 2015. Last year was okay. He missed some time pitching, only 34 games. Pretty dominant at times in his career.
He's consistently been really good, and he strikes out to Shields to start the 7th inning. I go back to his couple of years with the Rangers in 09 and 2010. A 194 ERA, a 203 earned run average in 2010. He's got good funk.
No doubt. Perfect example of a guy very similar to Alex Claudio. Kind of know where he is going with his career, but the lower arm angle, knowing how to use the velocity. It's a different kind of repertoire. Alex, we talk about a lot with that great changeup that he has. For Darren O'Day, it's the arm angle with the good movement on the 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and then the slider makes him very, very tough against right-handed hitters. But he's done a good job against lefties this year, 125 against. There's Alex. Now, when you are that guy, the margin for error on the fastball when you're facing an opposite-handed hitter, like in this situation here with Jew, is a little bit smaller. But you put 88-mile-an-hour fastballs on the corner like that one, and you'll have a lot of success against lefties.
Runs that one tight on Chu, and it's 1-1. Chu has walked all 3 times he's come to the plate tonight. And in those 3 trips, he saw 12 balls and 1 strike. Day's 1-1. He's off the plate.
I'm surprised we've never seen him attempt to throw a changeup. He has never, ever in his career. It has always been fastball, slider for him. And you mentioned dominant years for a long time, and that's why he's got himself to a point where he signed a contract and was making $9 million a year. It was certainly well earned. 4 years, $31 million that he signed a couple years ago.
Bouncer over to the right side of the infield. Scope takes care of 2, and there are 2 away. Well, this weekend, a couple of really good games on Fox Sports 1, one of the great rivalries in the National League. Cardinals and Cubs, 3 o'clock Central Time on Fox Sports 1. And then the historic broadcast, Rangers and Rays, 6 o'clock Central, Fox Sports 1 or on the Fox Sports Go app. You do not want to miss it.
You'll get to say that one more time. I know you love doing it to me.
I liked it. Your video promoting, first of all, the mere fact that you would make a video to promote that
Come
game
on, man. People
awesome.
need to know.
Yeah.
You get a little bored on the road, you know? No choice. Go to lunch with you or make videos. I'm like, yeah, I'm making a video today. But we jokingly say that for Saturday. I'll be calling that game play-by-play. Brian Anderson, the Rays color analyst, will be with me. And I don't know if it's true or not, but there'll be 2 left-handed pitchers in the booth. It's probably happened. I don't know. But I'm going to pretend it never happened. It's going to be the first time ever since 1939 when baseball first appeared on television.
1 strike pitch, and Andrews takes 1 strike 2. Elvis 0 for 3 tonight. Reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run in the 5th. You researched it a little bit, though.
Yeah. I mean, not real. I thought about it. I'm trying to think only off the top of my head how many former players have done play-by-play. It's a pretty short list.
Chopper back to the mound. And O'Day makes it look easy in the 7th inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Rangers. They'll stand and stretch tonight at Camden Yards, up by 3.
That score indicates there haven't been that many reasons to smile for the Rangers here in Baltimore this trip, but today there very definitely was, as one of the best stories in baseball this year continued. Jake Diekman has had 3 major surgeries to correct the condition known as ulcerative colitis, and today he got back on a big league mound. He threw a bullpen session today. He was told that he had 6 weeks before he could resume full baseball activities. Today was 6 weeks and 1 day from his last surgery. He said he felt like he was throwing about 200 miles an hour out there. Actually, they say it was more like 72, but he felt joy, and that joy was infectious. I think it carried through to a lot of the guys, including Jeff Bannister, who really felt the joy of seeing a guy come through all that he has come through and get back on the mound, guys.
That's such a great story, and you're right. And you could see today, too, as he's walking around the clubhouse, a little extra pep in his step, and yeah, maybe a couple of miles an hour off the 200 that he might have felt like he was throwing, but it was a hard throw. I think it's exciting also to think about. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. It's going to take some time to build up the stamina before it can actually get back on the big league mound in a game. But you get excited about it. You start looking at the arms that the Rangers have. They have good arms. And you think about full health and Jake Beekman and Keller getting activated today, and even though there's no set closer, there's some really dominant arms in this Ranger bullpen. They're all together and try to finish the season out pretty strong. There's Keller activated today.
This one lifted high in the air to left. To Shields back, and he can't quite get it. Chris Davis with his 17th home run of the year, and he adds to the Orioles lead.
Jeremy Jeffress looked a little bit surprised that this ball got out. I agree with him. It was a high fly ball, but the ball definitely carrying a lot more in these last couple of games than it was the first one here. And we know how strong this guy is. See the setup in that two-seam fastball ended up finishing on the outer third. Delano to Shields gave it his best effort, but that ball, about 2 rows deep, just sneaks out.
Nine 5, Baltimore leading, and here is Trey Mancini. Mancini 0 for 2. He's hit by a pitch in the 4th inning. Jeffress shooting for that outside corner. 1-1. I'm not sure, as I try to get my brain around what we have seen this week here in Baltimore. I'm not sure what amazes me more. This one popped up back of second base. Elvis out there. 1 away. The fact that the Rangers haven't scored the way we thought they would in this ballpark. They have historically hit the ball well here, etc. The struggles that the Orioles had on the pitching side. I just assumed that whatever the outcome of the games, we were going to see a lot of offense from the Rangers. But the thing that has snuck up on me here just a little bit. So 12 runs on Tuesday, the 10 runs yesterday, and now 9 tonight for Baltimore.
Yeah, and even in the bottom of the order, there's been a little bit of a surprise here as we get to Wellington Castillo. 7-hitter right now in this lineup. 7, 8, 9 tonight. He's been really strong. Take a look at this as Jeremy Jeffress throws that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Look at 6 for 8 tonight, 4 runs with an RBI. That's the other thing. Yeah, the middle of the lineup, Trumbo, Davis, Jonathan Scopes having a huge year. You got Adam Jones, Manny Machado at the top. Yeah, that's pretty intimidating. And you almost feel like, okay, well, can you take a little bit of a breather near the bottom? Well, not tonight. These guys have been very good. Ruben Tejada's been good really throughout this series. That's when a team gets really dangerous. You hear that phrase, length of lineup. That usually means something good is happening at the bottom. Some good things have happened at the bottom of the order here tonight for the Orioles.
One pitch, and it's a little tight on Castillo. Castillo 2 for 2 with the walk, has scored a run. Coming into this series, talk all around town and on the ballpark, there's a lot of disappointment here with regard to the Orioles, and a resignation that they were going to have to be sellers. Look, you know, this division is not going to happen. Maybe the wild card is out of the question. The wild card picture continues to evolve day by day. And the one thing that hasn't changed, yeah, the Orioles now much more in the thick of it than they were when the series began. The one thing that's remained constant is that the wild card race in the American League has included a lot of teams all at once. And this one fouled off and stays 2-2.
And that'll probably continue for a while. I think it's most likely a safe bet when you start to look at the teams and how things have been bunched up. Yeah, a couple of teams will start to fall off, but that's probably one that'll go down to the wire. The big separator could be who makes the move, as we so often say going into the trading deadline when you see a handful of teams kind of bunched up together. In this case, it's more than just a handful. Start wondering which general manager will be able to pull the trigger on the deal that's going to make the difference. John Daniels has been that guy the last couple of years for the Rangers. But take a look at this wild card. You mentioned it. That's what, 9 teams right there? 8?
That's 8 teams,
8.
all within 3.5. either in the wild card as the Rays and Yankees are, or 3.5 within it. And of course, you got the 3 division leaders, so 11 of the 15 teams either in the postseason or within 3.5 games of a spot. As Castillo rolls one into center field, his 3rd hit of the night. I mean, that's a lot of teams in one league. And then you look at the National League. How many teams within 5 games of the 2nd wild card spot in the National League? 0. It is, I mean, it is a much clearer picture on the other side.
A lot more teams all the way in on those full rebuilds in the minor leagues, in the National League. The other part of that too is there's been probably more disappointments in the National League as well. The Giants are certainly one of them. And you look at how their season has gone, pretty huge disappointment. The St. Louis Cardinals are 3 games under 500. I don't think really people were anticipating the Reds necessarily contending. But what's interesting about that is there's also surprises. Diamondbacks, the Rockies, I don't think we're expected to be as good as they are right now. So it's been a weird year for the National League, that's for sure. Mets are worse, I think, than most people thought.
Yeah, they were a disappointment. The Braves have been a nice surprise, although I mean, you're still talking about a team sub 500 at 45 and 48 coming in. But I think they have certainly surprised to the upside. I saw a little news flash a little earlier that they may have made a deal today. This ball hit well out to left center, and that is a base hit for Tejada. Castillo stops at second base. Couple of base runners with 1 out here in the 7th.
And the bottom of this order just keeps terrorizing these Ranger pitchers. That is now 8 for 10. What do we say? 6 for 8 coming into this inning, and now 8 for 10 for the 7, 8, and 9 hole hitters.
It's been impressive what they've been able to accomplish as Chirinos out there to calm Jeffress down. Tony Barnett getting ready to go. Your buddy Ken Rosenthal reporting that the Twins very close apparently to acquiring Jaime Garcia from Atlanta.
An interesting move for the Twins, who are probably looking for a little bit of depth in that rotation, trying to hang on in the American League Central, trying to stay in contention, and also of course that wild card comes into play for them as well. Bartolo Colon was activated by those Twins in the big leagues, so there's some talk about him contemplating retirement here pretty soon. Dylan G, of course, who was with the Rangers early in their season, was outrighted. Bartolo Colon took his place, and now maybe Jaime Garcia will find a way into that rotation with the Minnesota Twins.
Doug Brocale, conversation out there as well with Jeffress. Castillo at second, Tejada at first. Joey Rickard, 9th place hitter, 2 for 3, couple of runs scored. He has driven in a run. Baltimore leads by 4 in the last of the 7th inning. Jeffress with a good fastball. Good strike 1 on Rickard. We came into this game, Baltimore 45 and 49, same record as the Rangers. After Baltimore taking the first 3 games of this series. On the corner, strike 2. And so while they're in a flat-footed tie, it would appear in the wild card standings, the Orioles have, for the moment anyway, the tiebreaker. Head-to-head, they have handled the Rangers to this point. So even though they're tied, Rangers still chasing the Orioles. In the dirt, 1-2 to count. We're headed to Tampa after the game today, and we see the Rays. Rays have been on a really nice run. They're now 6 games over 500. They're only 3 back of the division lead. They may not be thinking wild card as much as they're thinking division title, but another team the Rangers are chasing, but whom they will play head to head. One, two. And a swing and a miss. Rickard strikes out for the second out of the inning. All right, and check this out. So you finish this one here. You go to Tampa. Then we're home for more against Baltimore. Seattle currently ahead of the Rangers in the wild card standings. Then we'll go to Minnesota. So when you look at the upcoming American League teams, because we do have the Marlins on that homestand, but American League teams on the schedule, the next 14 games, including this one, are all against teams the Rangers are chasing. I guess that's the good news there. Well, things have not gone well, so we'll have a chance to, take care of some of their business against those teams they need to beat.
Yeah, only one of those teams in the division in the Seattle Mariners, and so you don't get those opportunities very much anymore with the heavy divisional schedule to go up against those teams head to head. So you're right, it becomes important. First things first, you want to make sure you're playing well, but you look at that schedule and say, yeah, there's an opportunity for us to maybe knock some of those other teams down that we're competing against.
Now Adam Jones has had another good night. You can see by all those numbers. And he bats with a couple of men on. 2 away here in the 7th inning. A 4-run Baltimore lead. Just off the plate, 2-0.
We've seen Adam Jones throughout this series really drive the ball the other way, and Jeremy Jeffress just located that fastball down. And listen, the guy's got full power, no doubt about it. But he's also shown us power to right field as well. On a 2-0 count, looks like Ramos Citrino's going to ask for the ball now.
Another shot out to right field. This time 2 in position, and the inning is over. So the Orioles will get 1 run out of the inning. The home run by Chris Davis, and we go to the 8th, down by 4. And while this is the final game in this series here, guess what? The Orioles will be coming to Texas. And Friday, July 28th, after the ball game, you can enjoy a post-game fireworks show set to Texas music. And so it's Friday, July 28th. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Hope to see you out at the ballpark. It'd be good to get back to Globe Life Park. Seems like we've been out on the road for a while.
3 more to go before the next homestand. And here, Brad Brock now in the game here for the Orioles, getting ready to pitch his 41st game. How about that whip? 0.89. We saw him in the first game of this series. Went through 19 pitches. Fastball 95 miles an hour. Slider on 86. Changeup as well. He is having a very, very nice season. Has dominated left-handed hitters. 139 batting average against, 200 against those righties. A good swing and miss guy. 9.6 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Well, he gets Adrian Beltre to start this 8th inning. Couple more hits tonight for Adrian. And hits this one high in the air out to left field. Mancini waiting patiently. And there is one away in the 8th. Okay, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to Dana Larson. Royals trying to get back to 500 if they can get a win tonight. It's Dana, one away. Here is Mike Napoli. Napoli homered his last time up in the 5th. A 3-run shot. He's 2 for 3.
That was the last time that the Rangers have put a runner on base, 8 in a row since then. Big home run put the Rangers up 5-1, but they have since been outscored 8-0.
1-1 the count. We saw Brock on Monday night. He saved that 3-1 Orioles win. And he had taken over the closer's duties here with Zach Britton injured. Britton is now back and healthy and slowly getting himself back at game speed and trying to work his way back into that closer spot. 1-2 the count. So it's interesting to see Brock in this inning, because that certainly a signal that Britton indeed may be the closer going forward for this team.
Could be. Now it's a 9-5 game, and so obviously a non-save situation, but it's quite possible that Buck Showalter wants to play it like a save situation. You get Zach Britton comfortable maybe pitching tonight, and we'll see what happens. I'll go try to work this thing out.
Napoli strikes out swinging 2 away. They may not. I mean, they may go Brock 2 innings. Who knows? But the fact that Brock would be in at this point is certainly all you need to know. Now, Brock has said too, when he came in and took over the closer's job, he learned a pretty tough lesson right out of the gate. He said the way hitters approach you in the 9th inning. We talk so much about what it's like for the pitcher. His reflection was much more about what the hitters are like in the 9th. He said, man, they put on big time at bats. Nobody wants to be the last out, and they will fight and claw every pitch. It's a much different approach. He said, so when you're up there trying to backdoor a guy, maybe sneak a strike in, and you're pitching them, they can lock in on that and fight you off. And he learned from that experience because he blew 4 saves. And he said, really your only approach is just to go after him. Rear back, throw it, challenge hitters. Don't try to finesse them, because you're going to work yourself into deep counts, and it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, ultimately, you do not want your good relievers who slide into the closer role. They've earned that. There's a reason why your managers put you there. You don't want those guys to change their game too much, even if they feel like they're getting tougher at bats or guys are grinding it out a little bit harder. You still got to do your same thing. You still got to do what basically got you there and what earned you that spot as the closer. So yes, it might be a little bit more difficult, and you don't have the luxury of knowing if you mess up that the game might be over. The team doesn't get the hit again, all those things that come along with closing. You still want to make sure your guys are taking the same exact approach. You don't want to make that moment bigger than it actually is. You just have to get away from themselves a little bit. The other thing I was thinking too, I doubt this is the case, but it's 3-4-5 or 4-5-6 here, right? For the Rangers, Beltre, Napoli, Odor. If you want to give Brock the meat of the order here in the 8th inning, possibly, there's another way that Buck Showalter may have approached the way he's using his pen.
1-2, and that one's tight. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Odor. We get a base hit in the 2nd inning, reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run in the 4th. Bouncer foul. Keeps the count 2-2. So Brock got Beltre to fly out to left on the first pitch, struck out Napoli, and now Odor giving him a little bit more of a battle here.
So we were just talking about Zach Britton and potentially sliding back into the closer role. I'm wondering if this is part of his routine. Look where he's sitting. He's really far from everybody else. Now he wasn't keeping to himself because we saw him talking before when we did a tight shot of him. But maybe this is part of that closer routine where he's trying to get in that mold. We get later in the game and the possibility of him having maybe to close it out that he doesn't want to talk to anybody on his team. Once he gets to get a little bit locked in, and maybe he likes to be separated from the group. That would get it. That would make some sense. He's a pretty good distance away from your closest teammate.
I'm sick of you guys.
Don't look me in the eye. When you talk to me, don't look me in the eye.
Lighten up, Francis. Full count on Odor. The Rangers down by 4 in the 8th. And Odor strikes out to complete a 1-2-3 for Brad Brock. Oh, he looks sharp in the 8th. We go to the last of the 8th inning in a 4-run game. By Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Hey, this Tuesday is a Fox Sports Southwest $10 Tuesday. Tickets for the Marlins Rangers are just $10. Fans could add on a $10 meal when purchasing online at texasrangers.com/specials. Just go to the website and use coupon code FSSW10. We'll see you out there. All right, Jose Leclerc on to pitch in the 8th for the Rangers.
You see the pitch usage there from Jose Leclerc. Good fastball, great changeup we have seen all year from him. He's done a very nice job for the Rangers.
He gets a 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Manny Machado watches ball 1. It'll be Machado, then Scope, and Mark Trumbo.
Certainly a challenge here. 2, 3, 4 good hitters in this Orioles lineup, and guys that we have seen do some damage throughout this 4-game series.
Off the plate. 2-0. So Hamels went 5 1/3. Jeffress an inning in 2/3, and now the Rangers with their 3rd pitcher of the night. So they have done, despite some of the lopsided scores in this thing, they have managed to limit the number of pitchers used on a nightly basis. Leclerc not happy with that. 3-0.
No, you're right. The bullpen has been pretty well rested. Nobody has been overused. Jose Leclerc is coming off a period in which he has had 4 days off. We haven't seen Alex Claudio in this series after he pitched 3 days in a row in Kansas City. Jason Grilly's only pitched once. Tony Barnett's only pitched once.
Ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk. Puts Manny Machado on to start the 8th inning. Well, this is the last game in this series. We will move on later tonight, heading down to Tampa Bay in our AT&T pitching matchup tomorrow. Yu Darvish on the hill for the Rangers. Alex Cobb will take the ball for Tampa Bay.
This should be a good one. Very interesting matchup. You got the power righty in Yu Darvish. Alex Cobb, more of a finesse pitcher. Kind of a unique delivery. Relies on really good movement of a two-seam fastball and a changeup. One of those righties that really pitches, and command is so important to him. Two very different right-handers going in that first game in Tampa.
A small lead at first base. Scope takes a strike. Scope, another Oriole with a very good night going. Been a good series for him. It's amazing how quickly things can change in baseball, and certainly mentalities can change in baseball. And made reference to it, but the second half started at home here for Baltimore, and they hosted the Chicago Cubs. Well, the opening game, they gave up 9 runs, lost by a run. Middle game, they got smoked 10-3. It's a little comebacker to Leclerc. He'll go to second for one. The relay from Odor in time. Double play. 1-4-3.
It's a nice job by Jose Leclerc as he fields that ball. Makes a nice feed to Rougned Odor. An easy double play and a nice way to erase that first walk.
Bases empty now with 2 away. The final game of that series, they lost 8-0. So they gave up 18, they gave up 27 runs in the 3-game series. We rolled into town, and the thought was, well, it's fun while it lasted. But it's over. Now they have scored 31 runs in the last 3 games against the Rangers, and they're on the cusp of sweeping a 4-game series. And my guess is that the mood around town tomorrow here is going to be one of a lot more optimism and enthusiasm toward the trade deadline and what possibilities may exist. And maybe not. I mean, maybe they're not fully to that mindset yet. I bring it up just because while this has been really a rough couple of days here in Baltimore, and you're going into Tampa, a team that's playing a lot better than Baltimore had been playing, you just don't know.
You're absolutely right. I think we saw that here in Baltimore. We saw it in Boston earlier in the year. I think there were a lot of people that were down on what the Red Sox were doing. We saw them. We saw a good team. We're done with our season series. And I think anytime you have a lineup or a pitching staff that's got some pretty good track records like both of those clubs do, and you maybe see them at a certain time of the year, they get off to a slow start or whatever it may be, you always know that there's that possibility they could turn it on in a heartbeat. We certainly have seen that now here with the Orioles, and now it becomes, well, are they still going to be sellers? Because people are asking about some bullpen pieces, or would they be better off maybe trying to add something and make a run at the wild card?
Leclerc's 1-2 pitch, and he strikes out Trumbo to end the 8th inning. So nicely done by Jose Leclerc. Sends it to the 9th. Rangers looking to get something started. Zach Britton coming on for the 9th for Baltimore. Oh, yeah, thanks, Dana. 9th inning now. Zach Britton. It's been a long time since he has pitched in the 9th inning, but here he is. A 4-run lead. Not a safe spot as he makes his 15th appearance.
Now you see the numbers there, and it's still been a good year, even though he's missed some time. And Buck Showalter most likely wanting to get Zach Britton more comfortable getting back to that 9th inning role. And so, like you said, not a safe situation, and the adrenaline is always a little bit different for guys that have been there and done that in the 9th inning when it's not a safe situation. But Zach Britton just trying to get comfortable again, pitching late, and I'm not going to put it up there as one of the greatest, but pretty good entrance song for him. AC/DC for those about to rock. Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer this game has ever seen. Of course, he came in to Enter Sandman by Metallica for all those years, but that is the 2nd greatest entrance by closers.
Bouncer out to second base by Lucroy, and he is set down for out number 1. We'll change the subject. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on MLB.TV Premium and on over 400 supported devices. Plus, you get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Visit MLB.TV for details.
So do you know what the best entrance of all time is?
What did you come into?
Nope. Somebody else. Believe it or not, it actually wasn't me. You should know this. It's official.
I don't know.
Trevor Hoffman. Come on, man.
What, that's official?
No, it's not official. I made that part up. But Hell's Bells.
Yeah.
I know you remember.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it was cool.
No, what? Cool?
No, it was cool.
Incredible. So when they used to play at Jack Murphy,
yeah,
we were in there for the playoffs in '98. I think it was 61,000 people there, if I'm not mistaken. The white towels, 3rd out in the bottom of the 8th, and then just boom.
That's a shortstop. 2 away. Yeah, that was the best part of it, though. It was just the bells.
Oh, it was awesome. Not just the bells.
No, just the bells. That was it.
Gracious. No.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just the bells.
That's the only thing that made it unique and fun.
Made it great. It was a build-up. It was the build-up of the bells and then a great song that followed. But that was, it made me think of it because for those about the Rocks, a pretty good one.
What did you come into?
I change all the time, man, trying to mix up my luck. Come to find out it wasn't actually the music. That wasn't the problem.
Did you ever go with Tiny Tim's Tiptoe Through the Tulips?
None of that kind of stuff.
No. Maybe that was the mistake.
Maybe that was it.
Dude looks like a lady. Did you try that?
I did not. Are you saying that because I have makeup on right now?
No. No, I just trying to help. Chirinos. Last chance for the Rangers. And off the plate, it is 2-0.
We were talking about Castro earlier in this game and the 98-mile-an-hour fastball that he was painting as a right-handed pitcher away to right-handed hitters, and he did it with a lot of precision. You just saw that pitch right there at 97. That movement is even better. Even though it was off the plate, it's a lot of downward action. For me, the best sinker in the game comes out of the hand of Zach Britton.
Finds a corner with that heater at 97. Chirino's not happy. It's 2-1.
And understandably so. You see him saying it right there. That ball was outside, and it was. And you get in there and you grind out in at bat, and it doesn't matter if it's a 4-run lead or you're down by 10. You're working your tail off to go up against one of the best. When you know you've seen a pitch off the plate and it's called a strike, you get really frustrated.
Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. 14,691 the attendance tonight. Hard to believe we're at this point, but the Orioles one strike away from sweeping a 4-game series. Britton's 2-2. That's a full count. Chirinos on the ground, and that's a fair ball down the third base line, and Robinson will have a 2-out double. Breathes a little life into this Rangers offense in the 9th inning. Their first base runner since Napoli homered in the 5th.
Second double of the night for Robinson Chirinos. He had one back in the 3rd inning as well. He grinds out a tough at bat. You saw that sinker actually come back over the plate a little bit as opposed to fading away, and he just barely keeps this ball fair. You're saying, well, no, that ball's bounced foul. Well, it's not where it lands in that situation. It is where it goes over the bag.
Now to Shields. It's been a frustrating night for him. 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. His last time 2 times up. Took strike 1. Wade Miley had the start for Baltimore, went 5 innings. Boy, but the bullpen has just been lights out since then. Castro an inning. Darren O'Day, Brad Brock, and now Britton. Plate 1-1. Milano got the start tonight in left field. Picked up an outfield assist on a real nice play he made back of the 3rd inning. Laid down a couple of bunts today, but that just did not work out for him. On one occasion, because of a nice play made by Wade Miley. On the other occasion, the replacement wasn't what he wanted. Chirinos with a huge walking lead at second, and the pitch is a low strike call. The Shields would disagree.
Tonight's a really good example of what you can do with average starting pitching. If you got a lineup that can put up some runs, and you have a deep bullpen as deep as the Baltimore Orioles have. And they have thrown 4 guys out there tonight, 3 of whom could probably close on a lot of teams. Throw a day in there with the sidearm righty to give you a little bit of a different look as well. It's a nice example of what you can do with a deep pen.
2-2.
And Wade Miley allowed 11 base runners in 5 innings. He's got a chance to walk out of here with a win.
Yeah, Miley, 5 runs on 7 hits, walked 4, struck out 3. It's not an impressive looking line. Miguel Castro, who came on in relief, would be the
losing line, so that's my mistake. Yep.
Britton, meanwhile, trying to finish it off. 2-2 pitch. Shield stays alive. Britton went on the disabled list May 5th. He strained his left forearm. It was his 2nd trip to the disabled list for him. Recently reinstated, in fact, 2 weeks ago. On kind of an every other day schedule since coming back. Not a safe spot for him, but pitching the 9th inning nonetheless for the Orioles. And he'll step off. Time called. Castillo and Britton having a little trouble, so they'll get together.
Now, I don't know what this could possibly be about, because Zach Britton was predominantly on pitch. It was a really, really nasty 2-seam fastball. At this point in the game, I can't imagine they're trying to go in a different direction. It could be about location. It could be something maybe that Castillo saw.
Apparently decided in the 2-2. And that one skips away. So Chirinos heads to 3rd base, and it's a full count.
No, it was the breaking ball. And that's pretty surprising. This is a guy who throws better than 90% fastballs. It is usually two-seamer, 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 but yeah, the breaking ball, and maybe it was just Castillo saying, hey, man, let's give Roar. 4-run lead. I've been out here in a while. Let's go ahead and just try to throw a breaking ball for a strike, and ends up getting spiked in the dirt. And now Delino DeShields has himself in a full count.
Pretty good at bat so far for Delino. And he takes ball 4. So, 2 base runners in the 9th inning. Decided change to the tenor of this inning all of a sudden. 2 men on for Shin-Soo Choo. Nine to 5 the score. Choo could somehow find his way on. 2 outs in the inning, and that'll look out. Whoa, low bridge, and Choo gets out of the way.
And that's the one thing with Zach Britton. Every once in a while, it can get away from him. A lot of times, you'll see when it does, it's balls in the dirt. Usually, as this one sails on him a little bit. It's not anything where he's had bad control. This is a guy who's been really dominant over the course of his career. But there was that one postseason game. Now he'd gone through a situation where he had left the team because his wife had given birth and came back and tried to rush back, and all of a sudden couldn't throw a strike. He has had very good command over the course of his career, especially the last 3 seasons. Now this year, and it's only been now 14 games. It's creeped up on him a little bit. 3.6 per 9. 2.4 last year, 1.9 the year before. Excellent walk rates for him. See Delino there. I was going to say, I'll probably take 7.
Strike to Choo makes it 1-1. All the defensive indifference. Vacancy sign at first base now. Bouncer up the middle. That is a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes DeShields. It's a 9-7 game in the 9th inning, and the tying runs coming to the plate. Choo with a big 2-run single.
And against a very tough lefty as well, it makes it all the more impressive that Shin-Soo Choo can come up big here in the 9th inning, keep this inning going, keep the line moving. The fastball that did not really sink very much and stayed up in the zone. Choo still hit the top half of it, but gets right up the middle for a 2 RBI single. Now all of a sudden the tying run coming to play, excuse me. Base. No.
Take that as well.
First time watching a baseball game.
Roger McDowell out there to have a word with Britton. So here comes Elvis Andrus. And Blyer, we saw him in the opening game on Monday, begins to loosen up.
Michael Gibbons is the other big arm that they have down there, but he has pitched in 3 of the last 4 days. So Buck Showalter probably thinking that he would like to stay away from him. Gibbons, one of those big arms that's done a really nice job here for the Orioles, but it's going to be Blyer. For some reason, Zach Britton cannot finish this inning.
Down the middle of the count, 1-1 on Elvis Andrus. Elvis hitless in this series. We can put all that behind him in a big way right here. Choo off first. Big lead over there as well. On the 1-1. This one out to right field. Rickard goes back, reaching for the wall, and he makes the catch. Rangers made it interesting in the 9th inning. Scored a couple, got the tying run to the plate, but end up falling short. 9-7 the final. Orioles sweep the 4-game series. Stay with us. Dana Larson, Tom Grieve, and Mike Bassick. They'll be back to talk about what we saw tonight, including Cole Hamels' start. Plenty of player reaction and analysis as well. For CJ Nick.